In 1997, a book was published that would change pop culture forever and lead to a film franchise that would surpass the James Bond, X-Men, Jurassic Park, and Lord of the Rings franchises with a global box office total gross of $9.2 billion. It would also turn recently divorced single mother and welfare recipient J.K. Rowling into the world's first billionaire author. The book was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, which would be published in the United States as Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Rowling wrote 7 books in the Harry Potter series, as well as a follow-up stage play, a prequel film series, and numerous online supplemental character and story info on her website, Pottermore. Today, on our 8th Weird Shit Wednesday, we're taking a look back at the Harry Potter film franchise and the impact this series has had on pop culture as a whole, and on us personally as fans with very different perspectives and approaches to the work. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
And I'm Austin Johnson.
And you're taking a ride on the Filmgazm Express. Welcome to our 40th episode, and that means it's Weird Shit Wednesday, where we take a break from dissecting individual films and take a look at the larger topic, such as an entertainer's career, or in this case, a dive into a popular film franchise. Harry Potter has had such a monumental effect on my life personally, and is in many ways mostly responsible for molding me into the geeky lover of pop culture that I am today. But first, let's get into the rewind, where we look back at past episodes in search of nifty little updates. First, I've got an update on episode 10, Roman Polanski. He just keeps popping up in film news lately due to another accusation of rape. In fact, he's canceled a planned lecture at Łódź Film School in Poland after students and employees launched a petition against him. The petition said, quote, "Like any other educational institution, our film school should be the place where sexual violence is condemned." The school's rector defended his decision to invite Polanski, saying that the school owes him a debt of gratitude. What are your thoughts on this?
Are you surprised?
No.
Yeah, no, me neither. Just keep stacking them up there, buddy.
Yeah, just why would anybody reach out at this point? I mean, that's just bringing, more shit upon yourself.
Yeah.
Of course people are going to protest that, especially in this climate.
I know, man.
Jesus. And less than, 2 weeks after a fresh accusation?
Exactly.
Dude, you're an idiot. The rector of that school is an idiot.
Agreed. Yeah.
Ugh. Well,
what a sloppy, messy
Polanski just
life.
We're going to be talking about Roman Polanski forever. He's going to always be in the news with something.
Yes.
The guy just can't keep it in his pants. He's a fucking monster. Next, an update on bonus episode 7, Young Guns. I watched Young Guns 2, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was considerably more cheesy and a lot less tight, but I thought the characters were great and never lost my interest. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Beautiful.
You've seen Young Guns 2, right?
Correct, yeah.
You a fan?
Yeah, I am. It's been quite some time. Of course, I've seen Young Guns a lot more.
Yeah.
And yeah, what you said, that's exactly where I remember it. A little bit more cheesy, not like you said, not as focused, not as tight, not as on the edges there. It's just a little more forgettable, than the first one.
It was cool to see Christian Slater join the cast.
Yes, I was about to bring that up. I do love Christian Slater, especially 80s, 90s Christian Slater.
Oh yeah, before he burned all those bridges.
Yeah. I love him in Mr. Robot, that show in USA. He's great in that. But
he'll always be Clarence Worley to me. True romance.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see William Peterson as Pat Garrett. I love that story of, friend turned enemy. And yeah, I thought that it took some liberties with history, but so did the first one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so is Scorsese with The Irishman, so.
Yeah. You get that awesome Bon Jovi song, Blaze of Glory, nominated for an Oscar.
Yes.
And isn't that really enough? I think it's enough.
Agreed.
Finally, an update on our recent episode 39, The Serpent and the Rainbow. We forgot to add in our final scores at the end of that one.
We did.
So let's go ahead and do that now. I would give that film an 8.
Yeah, solid 8. We said that after we stopped recording. I was like, oh, shit. We didn't really, yeah, but we both give it an 8. Yeah, solid movie.
We're only human, and that's why we have the rewind, so we can fix our fuck-ups.
Yeah, indeed.
Now, on to Potter. Let's start by talking about our personal connections to the series. I own first edition hardcovers of all 7 books, a Blu-ray set of all 8 films, and I have a wand that I purchased at Universal Studios Orlando. When I was about 2, my mom would read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, to me to help teach me how to read, and I knew immediately that it was a story that would never leave my heart. I remember counting down the days to the release of the last book and going to Borders bookstore with my dad to buy it. I read it in 3 days, never putting it down, and I adored it. To this day, I still adore it. The films were the same way. I saw the first one when I was 6, and it blew me away. It became something I looked forward to every year for 10 years. I always saw them with my mom, except for Order of the Phoenix. I saw that with my grandpa and my cousins. But I got to experience the whole franchise in real time because I grew up with it. I saw the last one when I was 16, feeling the weight of all that buildup on my shoulders, and I wouldn't have it any other way. How about you?
I, too, own the exact same set of books, the hardcover, first edition. I, too, own the Blu-ray set of all the films. But I did not see the first movie in theaters. I did not read the first book when it came out. I read the books 5 years ago. I was, so that would make me, let's see, it was 2014. So, I was 19 years old when I bought the books and read them all. It took me about a couple years. But it was because of the films, because of my good buddy, Kelly Gutierrez. He's obsessed with them. You and him are the biggest fans of this franchise that I know. He has a Deathly Hallows tattoo.
Oh, wow.
He has a wand, he's obsessed. He's really into it. This is a guy that does not read, doesn't get that into films like we do, but he's obsessed with Harry Potter. So when I was hanging out with him, we'd be playing video games, and he'd be like, "Man, I want to watch Potter," and I'm like, never really got into it, My cousins would watch it. I remember Rosie, Mary, and Patrick. They're my cousins from Arizona. Anytime they'd be in town, they always had those like the VHSs with them when they first couple.
Yeah.
And watch them all the goddamn time. And my older brothers and I were just okay, I guess. We just didn't really dive into it. And so I just kind of put it on the shelf. It was just nothing to me essentially. I knew it was this huge success, obviously, but I never got into it until I was 19 years old. And I watched all the films with my buddy Kelly over a weekend, We did a marathon. He had just torn his ACL, so he was kind of off, just doing nothing. Well, a better way to, kill some time than, watch all 8 Harry Potter films. Immediately I was like, I want to get the books. So that was my first time watching them all the way through. I had seen, the only one I saw in theaters was Half-Blood Prince. That was because I was in New Mexico at a family reunion, and my cousins Rosie, Patrick, and Mary took us to it. Let's go. You guys will really enjoy this, even if you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I did. It was a good movie. It's a well done movie. I was a little whoa, holy shit, Dumbledore. Whoa, I thought he was a big character. He is. But think about that. My perspective is not cool. It's not good. It really sucks that I missed out on it as a kid. But I also have my imagination is pretty. I like to think that it's pretty broad still, and I adore it. I love it, even though I found it at 19, when it's children's books, those first couple, and children's movies, those first couple, and then it gets intense. It starts getting intense later on. Voldemort's a pretty evil character.
Yeah.
The stakes do get pretty high later on, and I think it's brilliant. I think it's awesome storytelling, and we're going to talk about the movies mostly today.
Yes.
But the books are awesome, man. They're so easy to read. It's one of the easiest fucking page turners. Just bah bah bah.
Yeah.
And J.K. just found a timeless story that's going to be around. Like Connor said, it changed pop culture. And I've been aware of that. I just caught on late,
Yeah.
And I want to admit that now, of course. My perspective is way different than Connor's. Connor, as a child, you probably were like, fuck Voldemort. This guy's the evil. But to me, I'm 19, and I'm like, I really like this actor, So I'm kind of inclined, I'm not really rooting for anybody. I don't care, I'm 19 years old. I'm not like, go Harry,
Yeah.
When you're a kid, you kind of take sides. So it's just different. It's just different the way we've watched. But we both love it.
Yes. Yes, we do.
You had Deathly Hallows Part 2 as number 2 in your
my top 10
top
of the 2010s.
10,
Yep.
Yeah, we just released that, not too long ago. So, yeah, it's very important to you. and very important to me in different ways. So yeah, I'm super excited to talk about it. I chose this.
Yeah, this was your pick.
I was like, hey, I think the winter is a good time. I think a lot of things in Harry Potter happen in the winter. Here's Christmas break, and then crazy shit happens at the end of the year. I just think the winter I don't know. I get that Harry Potter vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited, man. Let's do this.
Kick ass. All right, let's get into this. So, according to J.K. Rowling herself, the idea for Harry Potter first manifested in 1990 while she was on a train from Manchester to London. In her own words, quote, "I had been writing almost continuously since the age of 6, but I had never been so excited about an idea before. I simply sat and thought for 4 delayed train hours, and all the details bubbled up in my brain, and this scrawny, black-haired, bespectacled boy who did not know he was a wizard became more and more real to me." That's pretty amazing.
It's incredible.
I
looked that up because I was like, how the hell?
That's divine intervention. That's the spark of God right there.
Literally, it's lightning, which is funny. It's like a lightning bolt.
She completed the manuscript for the first book in 1995, and she got a literary agent on her second entry. And as a writer, that pisses me off so much. Is I've been at this for a while trying to get an agent. It's tough. And she got it on her second try. I mean, yeah, it's an amazing book, but still, man. I mean, come on. God damn it. After 8 publisher rejections, Bloomsbury offered her £2,500, a little over $3,200 US. The publishers initially targeted kids about 9 to 12 years old, and right before they published the book, she was told to adopt a gender-neutral pen name so as not to alienate any young boys who might be put off by the fact that the book was written by a woman. Which is pretty fucked up.
Extremely fucked up.
Thus, Joanne Rowling became J.K. Rowling, adopting her grandmother's middle name Kathleen since she does not have a middle name. And that's really messed up. That
really sad.
Publishers told her, like, look, no boy is going to read this book if they think a woman wrote it.
What's her real name? How do you...
Joanne Rowling.
I'm just going to start calling her that.
Joanne. Okay.
Yeah. What's her name?
Yeah, it is.
She wasn't given a middle name at birth. So
J.K. Rowling does not exist.
Yeah, that's so messed up. I actually didn't know that. That's really twisted.
Yes, it is. But, she didn't have the clout to say no.
Yeah.
It was either say yes or lose everything.
Mm-hmm.
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was first published in the UK on June 25th, 1997. It was released in the US by Scholastic on September 1st, 1998, under the name Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, a regret of Rowling's. She would have fought to keep Philosopher's Stone as the official name, but she lacked the clout to pull that off at the time. Scholastic paid $105,000 for the American publishing rights, an amount unheard of for an unknown children's book author. They changed the title because they didn't think Americans knew what the hell a philosopher was.
And we're supposed to know what a sorcerer is?
Kids, they don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But the philosopher,
they don't know.
Like the Philosopher's Stone is a real mythical artifact in alchemy history.
Yes.
And that's why she used that. It makes sense. There is no Sorcerer's Stone.
Sorcerer.
I don't know. It's Americans. Obviously, the book was a massive success, and the sales of the subsequent 6 novels all broke sales records. The franchise is also credited with sparking young kids' interest in reading, as the series encouraged kids to read at a time where kids were believed to be losing interest in favor of video games and TV. This was later proven to be false, as despite the massive sales, adolescent reading continued to decline, and it still does today, which is really sad. As a kid, I loved reading. I still love reading, and it breaks my heart when I find out people don't. Like, when I find people who just hate it.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
They just haven't found the right stuff to read.
That's what I tell them. Like, you just haven't found the right book yet.
Because there's obviously plenty out there.
Yes. So much. In 1998, Warner Brothers purchased the film rights to the first 2 novels for a 7-figure sum. One of the few demands that Rowling insisted upon was that the cast be kept entirely British, with very few exceptions. Rowling was hesitant upon selling the rights because she didn't want to give Warner Brothers control over the direction of the story, which very well could have happened. If the right people hadn't been involved, they could have completely taken this away from her and fucked it all up. The film was originally offered to Steven Spielberg to direct, and his intentions were to make a single animated film with Haley Joel Osment voicing Harry Potter. He wanted to bring elements from the other books into the movie and make one hell of a magical clusterfuck. Reportedly, he didn't consider the project a challenge, and he left to direct AI instead, taking Haley Joel with him, apparently. Thank Christ, because I think his movie would have been incredibly forgettable, and we would not be celebrating this the way we do today.
Oh, no. We wouldn't be talking about it right now.
Nope.
No way.
Chris Columbus was chosen to direct, thanks to his success with family films like Home Alone and Mrs. Doubtfire. Columbus would direct the first 2 films and go on to fuck up the Percy Jackson series by directing a terrible adaptation of The Lightning Thief, but that's for another time.
Is that one? I read that book, but
the kid who finds out he's like the son of a Greek god.
But the film stars Logan Lerman.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was trash.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
They completely.
There's more after that.
They made 2.
Okay.
They made
so
2 movies.
One more after that.
Sea of Monsters, and they fucked that up too.
That. He was in that one too.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's one of my.
I missed that completely.
One of my favorite book series.
I like The Lightning Thief.
They were so good, and I was so looking forward to that movie. I was so disappointed.
I like Logan Lerman.
I don't because of that.
Yeah.
Steve Kloves was chosen to adapt the screenplay, and he would write every Potter film except Order of the Phoenix. Open casting was done to secure the 3 lead roles: Ron Weasley, Hermione Granger, and of course Harry Potter himself. Newcomers Rupert Grint and Emma Watson were cast as Ron and Hermione, and casting for Harry proved difficult. Columbus and Kloves saw 5,000 auditions, and none of them really clicked until Columbus watched the 1999 BBC miniseries David Copperfield, which co-starred 10-year-old Daniel Radcliffe in the role of young David. Columbus knew immediately that Radcliffe was the one to play Potter, but the boy's parents wanted him to focus on his schoolwork instead of acting, as they were worried about the attention he would get, which is usually the exact opposite of actor kids with parents. So they kept doing auditions, but Columbus had his heart set on Radcliffe, so it was no use. By sheer coincidence or divine intervention, Columbus and Kloves went to the theater and happened to run into Daniel Radcliffe and his father. They talked to him and successfully persuaded him to let Daniel play Harry Potter. The rest is history. So clearly he was meant to play Harry.
Had to.
Yeah. Let's talk about the massive cast of British thespians that came about in this franchise.
Oh boy.
Starting with the first film, 2001's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yes.
Let's start with the big 3 and where their careers went after Potter. Daniel Radcliffe's life was dominated by Potter for 10 years, and it's a franchise he will be connected with forever. After finishing the series, he's become a sought-after indie character actor, appearing in films like The Woman in Black, Kill Your Darlings, Horns, Victor Frankenstein, Swiss Army Man, and Imperium. He's set to star in the 2020 thriller Escape from Pretoria. And of those, I've seen... I like The Woman in Black. I thought he was great in Kill Your Darlings. Great in Horns.
I've seen all of those. I really like him.
Yeah. I haven't seen Swiss Army Man or Imperium.
That's my favorite of all those. I like Woman in Black. I like Horns. I think all those are just, like, solid. They're all pretty decent films.
Victor Frankenstein was...
It's all right.
Could have been better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was excited for it. Yeah.
Yes.
I was a little... But I still... There's aspects of it I like.
Yeah.
And he's not the problem.
No.
You know?
He's great with James McAvoy. I think they're both great in that.
Yes.
It's just not a very well-written movie.
And apparently, Radcliffe's, like, a great, like, stage actor. Has
Yeah.
good presence and whatnot, so...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Very talented guy.
I'm excited for him. He's still young.
Still young, still an A-lister.
Because he was so young when this happened, so...
Emma Watson finished college after finishing Potter, graduating from Brown in 2014. She became a goodwill ambassador to the UN, promoting gender equality and empowerment for women around the world. Her film career has flourished, and she's arguably the most successful of the big 3 post-Potter.
For sure.
She appeared in My Week with Marilyn, The Bling Ring, This Is the End, Noah, Colonia, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and she played Belle in the live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast.
She's going to be in Little Women.
Yep, she's set to appear as Meg in Greta Gerwig's adaptation of Little Women, set for release later this month. And she is very talented.
Extremely.
I loved her in Colonia. That was such a freaky movie.
I really like Clooney. And I'm a big Perks of Being a Wallflower fan. I like that book, Chbosky. It's a fun movie.
Her role in This Is the End was so weird.
No one's putting out any rapey vibes. Danny McBride, yeah. That is a funny scene.
Mm-hmm.
What a crazy movie.
Yeah. I liked the live-action Beauty and the Beast. I thought it was really good.
Me too! I think it's one of my favorite ones of the recent.
A lot of people gave it shit, but I thought it was good.
Man, Beauty and the Beast is a fantastic movie.
Yeah. Just props. I thought The singing could have been better, but, I mean, nobody's perfect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's fine.
So, Rupert Grint's film career never really took off that much, though he did find some success on the small screen. He was the lead in the Sky One series Sick Note, which ran for 2 seasons. He co-starred in a miniseries adaptation of the Agatha Christie classic The ABC Murders, alongside John Malkovich as Hercule Poirot. He has a lead role in the Apple original series Servant, and a lead role on the Crackle TV show remake of Snatch, based on the Guy Ritchie film of the same name, so he's doing just fine.
Yeah, he's working, I don't know what any of these are, but,
Yeah, I haven't watched any of those. I don't plan to either.
Nah.
But, I'm happy for him.
Good for you, Rupert.
He did this movie in 2016 called Moonwalkers with Ron Perlman. So weird.
I haven't seen that.
Ron Perlman is a CIA agent who's tasked with going to England to recruit Stanley Kubrick to direct the moon landing that they're planning to do. Like, they have an actual moon landing in progress, but they want to film a fake one in case that fails.
Oh, boy.
Rupert Grint pretends to be Stanley Kubrick, and they make the moon landing, and eventually Perlman finds out it's not him, and he freaks out, but he has no way to finish. He has to finish this, or it's gonna be his ass. It's a really weird movie, but it's entertaining.
Oh, I have to check that out.
Moonwalkers.
Moonwalkers.
Oscar nominee Sir Richard Harris was cast as Albus Dumbledore, headmaster of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Harris was a highly respected actor who accepted the role at the insistence of his grandchildren. He was nominated for 2 Oscars in his career for his performances in 1963's This Sporting Life and 1990's The Field. He appeared in the 1967 movie musical Camelot as King Arthur, 1992's Unforgiven as English Bob, 2000's Gladiator as Emperor Marcus Aurelius, and in 2002's The Count of Monte Cristo as Abbe Faria, just to name a few. He would play Dumbledore in the first 2 films before dying in 2002 at age 72 of Hodgkin's disease. He was recast in the 3rd film with Michael Gambon, who we will talk about in a bit. And I thought Richard Harris was great, but he wouldn't have worked for the later films.
I know, and it's really... I've never liked that, of course. It's never fun to have like a switch in such a huge character.
Yeah.
Of course, so sad that he passed. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's not a miscast, but it's just like,
I think that they should have taken his health into consideration when they cast him.
Exactly. It's just like, well, let's really think about this.
This is an 8-film commitment.
Yeah, a 10-year commitment.
Yeah.
So.
And he was
tough.
Yeah, and Richard Harris was great, but like I said, the later films that involves Dumbledore to be a lot more active, I don't think it would have worked.
Oh my gosh, like Half-Blood Prince, when they're
No,
come on,
I don't see it.
Yeah.
Oscar winner Dame Maggie Smith was cast as Minerva McGonagall, Professor of Transfiguration at Hogwarts. Smith is another highly respected actress who has won 2 Oscars for her performances in 1969's The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie and 1978's California Suite. She was also nominated for her roles in 1965's Othello, 1972's Travels with My Aunt, 1985's A Room with a View, and 2001's Gosford Park. She's won several Emmys and Golden Globes for her role as Violet Crawley, Dowager Countess of Grantham on Downton Abbey, and she portrayed McGonagall in 7 of the 8 Potter films. And she's fucking great.
Oh my god.
Maggie Smith is a boss.
Yes, Maggie. Coward! Yeah, she's the best, man.
Perfect.
I love her. I adore that character, yeah.
She was one of the 2 actors that J.K. Rowling really, really wanted to get. The other was Robbie Coltrane.
Yes. Well, there's certain people that once you kind of get in your head, you're like, oh, there's no one else.
When you're writing, I write myself, and I have a few books that I've written, and when I'm writing them, I picture certain actors as the characters. And if I ever got the chance to have those actors play my characters, be a dream come true. I'm sure J.K. Rowling felt the same way.
Well, yeah, and it just so happens that they hit on damn near every single role.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
There's very few, if any, miscasts in this franchise.
Yeah.
Alan Rickman was cast as Severus Snape, Professor of Potions at Hogwarts. Rickman was a kind-hearted, beloved actor known for playing great villains in films like Die Hard, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and Sweeney Todd. I personally loved him in Galaxy Quest.
Yes.
Alexander Dane. He played Snape in all 8 movies and tragically died in 2016 at age 69 of pancreatic cancer. He was a fantastic performer and seemed like a genuinely good soul. Nobody had a bad word to say about the guy.
Yeah. Oh, man. Rest in peace.
So heartbreaking.
I mean, Snape is this character that everybody seems to be on board. That everybody loves Snape. He's so captivating.
He is captivating. We'll get to that because I have issues with Snape.
Okay.
I don't think he's a hero the way everybody seems to think.
No. Okay, yeah, I'm with you on that.
The character is fascinating.
Yeah, it's just hard to not be like, man, Snape. He's that guy. He's that dude.
Alan Rickman, dude, every movie he was in, he shined.
Well, yeah, he's one of the actors that makes Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets watchable.
Yeah.
Because there's aspects of it you're like, okay, this is pretty childish, and then he comes on, you're like, whoa, changes the tempo real quick.
Die Hard was his debut.
Oh my gosh.
Way to fucking bring it home. I mean, goddamn, Hans Gruber, one of the most iconic movie villains of all time.
Well, just the tone, the accent. Oh, it's just all perfect.
Oh, so great. And again, Sweeney Todd, I thought he was great as this evil, sadistic judge.
Love him in Sweeney Todd, yeah.
Yeah, he always delivered. He was so great.
Pretty women.
Tim Roth was offered the role before Alan Rickman, and he turned it down. I think because he didn't want to commit to a franchise.
Good. That would have been weird.
Tim Roth, I don't know. I think he would have been really good.
I think Tim Roth would be better as, someone else, even Lupin or...
I could see him playing, Lucius Malfoy.
Oh, yeah, that would have been cool.
I always liked Tim Roth as a bad guy.
Yeah.
Scottish actor Robbie Coltrane was cast as Rubeus Hagrid, groundskeeper of Hogwarts and Harry Potter's first real friend. Robin Williams actively pursued the role of Hagrid, but was turned down due to Rowling's British-only rule. And thank God, that would have been way too distracting.
He's really short, Robin Williams.
Yeah, I don't know how they would have done that.
What would they have done to make him,
Made him a troll or something?
Yeah, no, that would have been... No.
Coltrane was already a famous comedic actor in England, but other than Hagrid, my favorite role of his was as Russian gangster Valentin Zukovsky in the Bond films GoldenEye and The World Is Not Enough, alongside Pierce Brosnan. He's such a weird character in that.
Yes. Off the wall.
Off the wall, indeed. Evil gangster with a heart of gold who ends up saving Bond's life at the cost of his own. It's a very, very great moment in The World Is Not Enough. He also briefly played the weird, horny guy who tries to hop in the bathtub with Beverly D'Angelo in European Vacation. You remember that?
Of course, yeah. How can we forget?
He also appeared as Dr. Samuel Johnson in Blackadder III, the man with the unfinished dictionary. One of my favorite episodes. And he played Hagrid in all 8 films.
Yes, he did.
Tom Felton was cast as Harry's longtime nemesis Draco Malfoy, pureblood Slytherin badass who comes from a family of Death Eaters. Felton remains good friends with Radcliffe, Watson, and Grint, and after Potter, he continues to have a steady stream of decent work, including a role in 2011's Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and a recurring role on Season 3 of The Flash. He also briefly played himself in 2010's Get Him to the Greek.
Yeah, that was great.
Be sure to bring along Professor Snape. Yeah, nobody cares. Oh, so great.
What is this, Middle Earth? Just take me to the damn airport.
I love that movie so much. It's so funny.
It's a funny movie. It's underrated. No, I just hit the bongos into the African smile. Furry walls!
My dad loves your shit. Matthew Lewis was cast as Neville Longbottom, a bumbling little guy who grows into a hero. After Potter, Lewis had roles in various shows like The Syndicate, Happy Valley, Bluestone 42, and Ripper Street. And he's coming to his own. I think he's just I think he's doing a lot of modeling.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird considering how goofy of a kid he looked.
Neville Longbottom.
Yeah, in the books, it's never really brought up in the movies, but he could have been the chosen one, which is really fascinating. Like, the prophecy applied to Harry and Neville, and Voldemort picked Harry. Could have been him. Really weird. I think that Voldemort totally would have won if Neville was the chosen one.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, man.
James and Oliver Phelps were cast as twin jokesters Fred and George Weasley, and they've not really had much success outside of the franchise either. James Phelps is set to appear in Edgar Wright's new film Last Night in Soho next year, so we'll see.
Yeah. That's cool.
We've got Oscar nominee Sir John Hurt as Ollivander, the wand maker who gives Harry his wand. Hurt was nominated for his roles in 1978's Midnight Express, in 1980's The Elephant Man. He's a longtime favorite of ours, and has appeared in such iconic films as Alien, 1984, Hellboy, V for Vendetta. He was the voice of the Horned King in The Black Cauldron, one of my favorites, and he portrayed the previously unknown War Doctor in the 50th anniversary special of Doctor Who, alongside previous Doctors Matt Smith and David Tennant. He played Ollivander in the first film and the last film. He died in 2017 at age 77 of pancreatic cancer, which seems to grab a lot of people in the Harry Potter universe.
Yeah,
that
what's
also
going on
killed,
with that? Is that a trend here?
That also killed Alan Rickman. I don't know. I think that killed David Bowie, too. Pancreatic cancer.
Yeah, that's correct.
Jeez. John Hurt, man, was a goddamn legend.
Oh, my Lord.
So many films. The Elephant Man alone.
Just completely, demanded your attention,
He's the guy who has the alien pop out of him for the first time in Alien, which cemented him in horror history forever.
Of course.
Later parodying that in Spaceballs, which was just great.
Yeah. We have a Spaceballs episode you guys can check out.
Yes, we do. Bonus 16, I believe.
Something like that.
Yeah. And I loved him in V for Vendetta as the sadistic chancellor.
What an awesome movie.
It's a great movie. Underrated as hell.
Yeah.
And Hellboy. Loved him in that, too.
Hellboy's a fun movie as well.
Dude rocked.
Yeah, he tends to work with people who are, know what they're doing and have a good vision. And, of course, we love character actors like that.
And he was working up to the day he died. Like, the guy just wanted to work.
Churning it out.
Yeah, big time. Richard Griffiths was cast as Vernon Dursley, Harry's cruel muggle uncle.
Boo.
Griffiths was another British character actor who appeared in a ton of stuff, including Withnell and I, Gandhi, King Ralph, The Naked Gun 2, Sleepy Hollow, and Hugo. He played Uncle Vernon in most of the Potter films, and he died in 2013 at age 65 of complications from heart surgery.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. And
fucking Vernon, man.
Dude, the Dursleys, oh, god damn.
Jeez Louise.
They're infuriating, man. But I love the theory that the reason they're so mean and evil is because they've been living with Harry there for 11 years, and he's a Horcrux.
Yeah.
So his, evil inside of him is driving them evil, like the necklace did Ron later on.
Yes.
Interesting. Very interesting.
It's pulsing in their house. Yeah.
Fiona Shaw plays Petunia Dursley, Harry's cruel muggle aunt. Shaw has had recurring roles on the HBO series True Blood, the sci-fi series Channel Zero, and the AMC series Killing Eve. In addition, she's done a ton of BBC stuff. And she's good. Fiona Shaw. I don't think... Petunia has a bigger role in the books.
Yeah.
Doesn't really get a lot of screen time in these movies. But I get that. You want to get to the magical side of it.
Of course.
Harry Melling plays Harry's stupid but mean cousin Dudley, and he lost weight so rapidly during the series that for most of his appearances, he's wearing a fat suit. Post-Potter, Melling has appeared in The Lost City of Z and The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, among other TV appearances. He plays the amputee in Ballad of Buster Scruggs in the meal ticket segment, which is so sad. So great, though.
It's an awesome movie.
Truly. Ian Hart plays Professor Quirrell, the nervous, stuttering Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher who's later revealed to be the true villain and the vessel for the soul of Lord Voldemort. Hart appeared in Michael Collins, Enemy of the State, Finding Neverland, and has had recurring roles on Boardwalk Empire and The Terror. He's a bit part guy who pops up a lot. And he doesn't really stand out in this one, admittedly. But that's because the character doesn't really get a lot of attention.
Exactly.
But that's the point, because you're supposed to be thinking Snape's the bad guy the whole time.
Yes.
It's actually really smart misdirection.
Especially for kids.
Yes, extremely. I know. When I was a kid, I was blown away by that.
Yes.
Oscar nominee and legendary comedian John Cleese plays the Gryffindor ghost Nearly Headless Nick in the first two films. Cleese is a founding member of Monty Python and starred in all of their films, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Monty Python's Life of Brian, and Monty Python's The Meaning of Life, as well as the BBC series Fawlty Towers, which I absolutely adore. So funny.
I haven't checked that out yet.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's only 8 episodes long, but it's flawless.
I need to, take me a night, yeah.
He received an Oscar nomination for Best Original Screenplay for A Fish Called Wanda, which he also starred in. He is one of the funniest people who ever lived, and he's been in so many bit part roles that he's worthy of his own episode. The guy is a goddamn legend, and I love him so much. He's so funny. Ugh. David Bradley plays Argus Filch, the non-magical caretaker of Hogwarts, one of the most inexplicable characters in the whole series. Bradley is known for playing oddly sadistic creeps like Walder Frey in Game of Thrones, but he's also portrayed actor William Hartnell in the BBC biopic An Adventure in Space and Time, later playing the first Doctor in an episode of Doctor Who alongside Peter Capaldi. Bradley's also appeared in Hot Fuzz and The World's End, and he had a recurring role in the first series of Broadchurch. He's a fantastic character actor who always delivers.
Indeed. Oh, Broadchurch. Have you seen that?
Oh, I've seen the first 2 seasons, yeah.
Unbelievable.
So, dude, that show was intense.
Stellar stuff. Yeah.
Ooh.
Milla.
Oscar nominee Julie Walters briefly appears as Molly Weasley, Ron's mother. She becomes a much major character down the road.
Yes.
She was nominated for her performances in 1983's Educating Rita and 2000's Billy Elliot. And she is a great Molly Weasley.
Oh, my goodness.
Really warm character.
This is one of those where they hit it just right. Hit the nail right on the head.
Oh, right on. 100%. Finally, to round out some of the major players of the first film, we've got Warwick Davis as Professor Flitwick, Professor of Charms, and as the voice of Griphook the Goblin, who would return in the final Potter film. Davis is a character actor who's been around forever, starring in films like Willow, Labyrinth, and the Leprechaun franchise as the eponymous Leprechaun. His debut role was Wicket the Ewok in Return of the Jedi. He's appeared as either Flitwick or Griphook in all 8 films. And Warwick Davis is the man.
Oh, my gosh.
He had a show with Ricky Gervais called Life's Too Short.
Yes, I was going to bring that up. Yeah, you've watched that?
I've seen a couple of episodes of that. It's so funny.
Hilarious.
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone has an IMDb score of 7.6, a Rotten Tomatoes score of 81%, and it was a massive success. Grossed $975 million on a budget of $125 million. For a time, it was the second highest grossing film of all time behind Titanic.
Yeah.
It was nominated for 3 Oscars, Best Art Direction, Best Costume Design, and Best Original Score for John Williams, who crafted yet another iconic movie score. John Williams, that guy has some kind of, I don't know what it is, but he knows music.
Name a movie, he might have done it.
Jaws, Superman, Star Wars,
Potter.
It's fucking crazy,
Jurassic
man.
Park.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, no, he's insane, man. And there's some stuff in here, especially from the first one. Dun, 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 dun. It's like legendary. It's like so charming and so lovely. I adore the score of all of the films, but I really like it in Sorcerer's Stone, just because there's so many iconic ones that you hear for the first time. You know.
Oh yeah.
Just right at the beginning when you're seeing Dumbledore and McGonagall for the first time. You're like, man, what a just magical moment. You know, it's really amazing.
And let's talk a bit about the first film, some of the highlights. What are some of your favorite moments from Sorcerer's Stone?
That beginning. I mean, seeing Dumbledore, especially, you got to remember from my perspective, I'm like, oh, damn, look at these 2 legends, you know. Richard Harris and Maggie Smith. That's who I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Above Dumbledore and then McGonagall. You know, I'm not seeing them as those characters, I'm seeing them as these actors. I'm like, man, this is nuts. I remember that first time I watched it, and still to this day, when I watch Sorcerer's Stone, just ear-to-ear smile anytime Coltrane's on the screen. Hagrid, you just want to give him a goddamn hug. You know what I mean? And,
yeah.
And whether you like Harry as a character or not, you're just so with Hagrid at the beginning that you're like, I don't really care. Take me to Hogwarts, man. Let's go. You know, like I'm all in, and he's a big part of that. I think that's like really important because those kids are, you know, we all know they're not the greatest actors yet. Those kids. Yeah. So you need guys like Robbie Coltrane, those important characters, Alan Rickman once he gets starts coming in, Richard Harris, to kind of carry them and guide them through each scene. You know.
Yeah.
There are times when it's charming what's going on when it's just them 3 on the screen, but it's like, all right, we kind of need like a leader here, a veteran, you know.
Yeah.
So those are my favorite scenes is when that presence is there. When you first see Alan Rickman, you know, he's in his potions class, and you're like, oh my god, fucking Snape he just immediately grabs your attention. You know, there's a lot of little moments. The movie's fine. I would give it a 7 out of 10 for myself. Mostly off of, you know, sentiment. You know, I do think it's probably the weakest of all 8, maybe the second weakest.
Well, that's only because it got so damn good.
Exactly. I'm comparing it to these ones that I like later on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is hard. You have to be like, you know, subjective, but point being, they're the little moments of Sorcerer's Stone where there's that little character development and certain actors that hit the screen that I like, my eyes just light up and I get really happy. So there's not a particular moment though from the story that stands out to me. But do you have one? Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know.
I really like the scene at the zoo where Harry first
The music's so good right there.
shows his
too.
magic power and makes the glass disappear.
Thanks.
Yeah, the snake, and I
that's
love that
awesome.
whole scene.
It's fantastic.
I love when Hagrid shows up to get Harry at the Dursleys' island, which after they
Kind of creepy.
they got away from the mail. It's so great. He just bends Vernon's gun like nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, so great.
You're a wizard.
Hagrid's the only adult at the beginning who loved Harry without an agenda. He was a good person. He was Harry's real friend.
Well, yeah, he's actually walking him through, Diagon Alley.
He's the closest thing to a father Harry ever had.
Yeah.
It's just, oh man, brings a tear to my eye.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So great. I love the Quidditch scene. The first Quidditch match is gold.
Of course, it's iconic because
So
it's
great.
your first time seeing the lads out and about. Yeah.
It's wonderful. It's very whimsical, and I do agree that the later films are so good that this has lost some punch.
Yeah.
I give it an 8, just again for sentiment. Just so great.
Yeah. There's some fun stuff in there, man.
Wonderful.
And it's what I like about Harry Potter, the franchise, or one of the things I like about Harry Potter, the franchise, the films, is there is no weak point where I'm like, I'll skip that one.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing a marathon, I don't start after. I start it with this one. I still watch it every time if I'm watching them all.
Yeah.
I always watch it all the way through. I just do because there's great aspects of it, and it's just there's stuff that's so essential to the story. Now, there's other franchises where that might not be the case, where there might be one where you're kind of dreading that you have to get through that.
Yeah.
This franchise, I don't feel that way about any of the films. They all have something to offer, and that's fucking important.
That is.
It's let's just say, out of the films, out of the 8, it's a good batting average,
Yeah.
Sorcerer's Stone.
Well done. The only thing I'm not that big a fan of in this one is their portrayal of Voldemort. The face on the back of the guy. It was okay. I thought the actor they got was a little hammy.
Yeah.
And compared to Ralph Fiennes later on, no contest.
Doesn't age too well.
No,
Yeah.
not great. He has a nose. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And, just it's a good movie. Next was 2002's Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, also directed by Chris Columbus. This film has an IMDb score of 7.4, Rotten Tomatoes score of 83%. It grossed $879 million on a budget of $100 million. And what are your initial thoughts on Chamber of Secrets?
Chamber of Secrets was the movie that I saw a little bit of as a kid that kind of made me question, where I was like, would I like this? Because I think there's parts of this one, particularly, I don't want to jump, I guess, yeah, we'll just jump to the end. I find it just to be comical, the scene when Harry's like, of course, Phoenix Tears have healing powers. Just But I really like the build-up of that scene. I just don't like that. But that's
I get it, but that's child actors.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And again, my perspective is just different than, and that's what I think about when I think about Chamber of Secrets. I think about that scene. I also think about who played Tom Riddle, and
Really?
not for me.
Not a fan.
That guy's not for me.
I thought he did a good job. I liked him.
I don't know. What's his name? I don't know that guy's name.
I don't either.
Yeah, not for me. But I do really enjoy seeing a giant snake. I think that still kind of holds up. I think it looks pretty good still.
I think this is the closest Potter ever got to a horror movie.
Yeah. It's very dark. Not just dark content wise. It's dimly lit, if that makes sense. Because they're underground a lot. So. What about you? What are your initial thoughts on the film?
I like the idea of a monster hiding in the walls, stalking students. I wish they'd gone the extra mile and actually killed somebody.
Yes.
The stakes aren't that high.
I wish this would have. I don't know how, but there's aspects of that I wish would have come later on.
Yeah.
When they could have, like you said, get a little bit more edgy.
But in this one, we learn that Harry has a connection to Voldemort somehow.
Yes.
He can talk to snakes. But it's his, it's his choices and his courage.
That's right. We get that really fun scene with Draco and Harry fucking dueling.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
I like that. Yeah. And that's when you see Parseltongue. That's when you see Harry speaking Parseltongue. Yeah.
And we learn a bit about who Voldemort was as a kid. This arrogant, troublesome kid named
Prick.
Tom Riddle who ruined Hagrid's life. And,
prick.
I love the whole scene with the spider. Aragog, that's freaky.
That is a fun scene.
Aragog's voiced by Julian Glover, by the way, the guy who played Grand Maester Pycelle in Game of Thrones, and Walter Donovan in Last Crusade.
There you go.
So, cool guy. Awesome guy.
Nice resume.
Yeah. And I love Kenneth Branagh's Gilderoy Lockhart. He's such a bumbling fool.
Oh, my God. He's an idiot.
Such an arrogant son of a bitch.
Right from the beginning, man. Right when you see him. Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, I like a lot about this movie.
And I do like the obviously the plot device of Lucius fucking sneaking the book in. That's fun. That's cool. And it's always like one of those things, if you're like watching, you're like, oh, there it is. It's like that moment. It's like the turning moment of the movie where it's like, here we go. What did he just do there? And Harry Potter does that a lot. That's, it has these, we've talked about it. It's pretty formulaic. It's like, here's this fun moment. Here's them processing it. Here's this moment, but it's fun. Like, I'm along for the ride the whole time, and Chamber of Secrets no different. Personally, I give it a 7 again. These are my 2 lowest ones, would be the first 2, but I still like them a lot. They're very entertaining, and I never skip them if I'm doing the marathons. So that's always good,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, some of the newcomers to the cast included Oscar nominee Kenneth Branagh as the ineffective, fraudulent celebrity wizard Gilderoy Lockhart.
Of course.
Branagh was nominated for 5 Oscars in his career for various categories. He was nominated for his performance in 1989's Henry V, and was also nominated for directing that film. He was nominated for Best Live-Action Short Film for 1992's Swan Song. He was nominated for Adapted Screenplay for 1996's Hamlet, and finally for his performance in 2011's My Week with Marilyn. He's a highly accomplished theater actor and director, having recently directed Thor, Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit, Cinderella, Murder on the Orient Express, and he's set to direct Artemis Fowl and Death on the Nile, which he also stars in. Kenneth Branagh is a versatile performer. He does everything.
Indeed.
And he's great in this. Bonnie Wright has a larger role as Ginny Weasley, Ron's sister and Harry's future wife. She appeared briefly in the first film, but she's really introduced here. After Potter, Wright's career has really slowed down. She hasn't really appeared in anything worth mentioning, which is a shame. Mark Williams plays Arthur Weasley, Ron's father. He's known primarily in the UK for his lead role in the crime drama series Father Brown. And he's also made some appearances on Doctor Who and a host of other shows. And he's just great.
Oh my gosh.
Arthur Weasley is such a good person.
President. He should be the president, man. He's the most fair man of this entire franchise.
They make a great Minister of Magic. Robert Hardy appears for the first time as Cornelius Fudge, Minister of Magic. Hardy appeared in a number of BBC series, including Midsummer Murders, The 10th Kingdom, All Creatures Great and Small, and Middlemarch. He died in 2017 at age 91 of natural causes. And I love the evolution of Cornelius Fudge. He starts out as just this kind of bumbling leader who's a friend to Dumbledore and a friend to Harry, and he turns into a sadistic tyrant.
Yes. Yeah, but by the time you hit Order of the Phoenix, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't stand this guy.
That looming scene in Order of the Phoenix where Harry looks up to see like a big poster of Fudge's face. Dude, it feels like 1984.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Toby Jones is the voice of Dobby the House Elf, who goes to great lengths to keep Harry out of school. Jones is perhaps best known for his role as Dr. Arnim Zola in the Captain America franchise, but he is in a ton of stuff. And he does a good job as Dobby.
I love Dobby.
Yeah.
Awesome character.
Dobby is, his role is substantially cut down from the books.
Yeah, understandable, because I imagine that CGI is not the easiest to use like all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it was just they had so much more story to tell that they had to cut it somewhere.
Yeah, I mean they're still like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, and Dobby still does get his heroic moment in the last couple.
Oh yeah, he does get
So yeah, he's actually kind of annoying in this one.
Dobby is annoying, just like his voice and but you like love him because he's like your little brother. You're like whatever. He's around, and then like you said, he does have his moments of like wow, he really stepped up there. So.
Yeah, he's the reason Lucius nearly throws the killing curse at Harry at the end of the movie, which was crazy. I didn't notice that for like the few viewings that's what he said. But it's
how serious that is.
Yeah, like, shit, dude, you almost killed Voldemort's whole plan right there.
Yeah.
And Jason Isaacs plays Lucius Malfoy, Draco's arrogant Death Eater father. Isaacs is one of my favorite actors, and it's always exciting to see him. I love him as Colonel Tavington in The Patriot, one of the most evil sons of bitches in film history. Just
a fucker.
Oh, so great. That movie, I love The Patriot.
Patriot's really good.
He had a lead role on the series Star Trek Discovery. He played Captain Hook in the 2003 Peter Pan movie, and he's just a great bad guy and a great character actor.
Yes. He has that look.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love him as Lucius. So, Chamber of Secrets is, I think, the most whimsical of the franchise. There's a lot of goofy moments. A lot of moments that kind of contradict later things that happen in the franchise. But there are some great scenes, like the whole bit in the Chamber of Secrets, I think is brilliant.
Yes.
Big snake and all that.
Oh, fucking awesome. Yeah.
And we talked a lot about Chamber of Secrets already, I think. So let's move on. Harry Potter.
What's your score for it?
8.
8? Yeah.
8.
Solid 8.
Nothing really dips below an 8 for me on this franchise.
From here on out.
There's a few.
I'm 8 up from here on out. Yeah.
It grows, but it never. I don't like. There's no 7s.
Those are my 2 7s. That's it.
All right, so this ought to get interesting then.
So from here I'm up. Yeah.
Right on.
8 and up from here on out.
Very cool. Next was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Whoa!
Which marked a significant tonal shift in the franchise. Chris Columbus left to spend more time with his kids, and several directors were considered. Guillermo del Toro was offered, but turned it down because he thought the first 2 films were too whimsical, and he wanted to do Hellboy instead. And his Harry Potter would have been really weird.
That's always something that I think we'll have missed out on. There's 8 of them. I really wish he would have got one of them.
Yeah.
Know? I really do.
Damn shame.
But I'm not complaining about who got the third one. So.
Oh, no. M. Night Shyamalan was considered as well, but he turned it down to do The Village, and that would have been... I don't know what the hell...
That I'm not down with. Yeah, I don't think M. Night...
No.
No. I think he should, keep doing The Village and stuff like that.
Can you imagine, like, it'd be some weird... Like, Harry's been, an alien the entire time or something. Hogwarts is on the moon.
He would have, changed the book. Yeah.
He would have done some shit. Eventually, the director that was chosen was Alfonso Cuarón, who would go on to win 4 Oscars. 2 for directing, for 2013's Gravity and 2018's Roma, 1 for film editing on Gravity, and 1 for cinematography on Roma. He was also nominated for Best Original Screenplay for 2000's Y Tu Mama Tambien, Best Film Editing and Best Adapted Screenplay for 2006's Children of Men, Best Picture for Gravity, and Best Original Screenplay and Best Picture for Roma. Cuarón brought a dark mysticism to the franchise and made what many consider to be the best installment. Cuarón is a goddamn artist.
To say the least. Oh my gosh.
And his vision of Harry Potter is it's a lot more modern than the first 2.
Yes.
And it's very dark, but also still kind of whimsical.
Yes, yeah.
He balanced it really well.
Yeah, I enjoy Azkaban very, very much. It's my favorite one of the franchise. We also get an introduction to fucking, Sirius Black. My God, Gary Oldman. Remus Lupin, David Thewlis, my God. I'll let you get to it. It's just genius. This movie's awesome, and we'll get to it. There's one scene in particular that's just like, it's great. It's great.
Prisoner of Azkaban has an IMDb score of 7.9, Rotten Tomatoes score of 90%.
Solid.
Grossed $796 million on a budget of $130 million. It was nominated for 2 Oscars, Best Visual Effects, and Best Original Score for John Williams once again. And here's some newcomers to the cast. The film opens with the arrival of Marge Dursley, Harry's fat and mean aunt who gets blown up like a balloon.
Yeah.
She's played by Pam Ferris, best known for her role as Principal Trunchbull in 1996's Matilda. And she was great as this horrible human being.
Yeah.
Who insults Harry's parents and gets blown up like a balloon. It's a great way to open it.
Just treating him like a second-class citizen.
It's so and I love the Dursleys' reaction. They're not scared. They're just like, "Oh, now we got to deal with this."
Yeah, more magic.
Oh, so great. We have David Thewlis as Remus Lupin, the new professor of Defense Against the Dark Arts, and probably the best to hold down the job in the series.
Oh, no doubt.
Thewlis is an accomplished character actor who's appeared in The Big Lebowski, Timeline, Kingdom of Heaven, the remake of The Omen, and recently as the villain Ares in Wonder Woman. He's just a rock star, does his best in everything.
I fucking love David Thewlis. Yeah.
And he is so good as Lupin, such a great character.
Well, yeah, like you said, Lupin is like an actual teacher.
Yeah.
It seems like no one's actually fucking teaching the whole damn time. And Lupin's like trying to give them hands-on advice on how to combat things that will come at you.
He's also a werewolf. And that, well, it comes back to bite them. But, yeah, I love Lupin's relationship with Harry is the heart of this movie. And it's because he knew their parents. I mean, he knew Harry's parents. And he's just a good person. And he wants to do right by his friend.
Yes.
And I love that. So great.
Well, and yeah, his involvement later on. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Next, Michael Gambon replaces Richard Harris as the new Albus Dumbledore, and it's never addressed in the film, which I think was the smartest way to go about it.
Yeah, how can you?
Yeah, exactly. Gambon is another accomplished character actor who appeared in films like Layer Cake, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, the remake of The Omen, again, Fantastic Mr. Fox, The King's Speech, and a fantastic episode of Doctor Who, and recently Judy. And he another guy who just delivers every time, and he
just keeps going.
He's really good as Dumbledore.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Awesome Dumbledore.
Do you like Richard Harris or Michael Gambon better?
By default, Gambon because of how many movies he's in and the movies that he was in.
Yeah.
It's a little unfair, but I mean, Harris is a legend.
True.
But so is Gambon. I don't know. It's tough.
The role was offered to Ian McKellen.
I know.
Turned it down because after playing Magneto in the X-Men franchise and Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings, he didn't want to play too many legendary, iconic characters.
Well, yeah, what?
After playing Gandalf, I couldn't imagine.
I like that. I also, like, currently, something that I don't really like is, like, Chris Pratt is Star-Lord and he's Jurassic World, and it's like, I kind of like to stick to one.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like the face of that, and that's it,
I agree.
But teach his own, Money is money.
However, looking back, Ian McKellen could have been...
Oh, my Lord.
Jesus Christ, he would have been so beautiful as Gandalf.
Perfect Dumbledore.
I mean, Dumbledore is what I meant. He is great, beautiful as Gandalf.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's wonderful.
I hope he comes back for that Lord of the Rings Amazon show. If they're going to do any connection, it should be him.
It should be Gandalf.
Yeah. And he said he'd be open to it, which is pretty sweet.
Then do it.
They're going to fuck that show up. Oscar winner Emma Thompson plays Sybil Trelawney, Professor of Divination. Thompson won 2 Oscars, one for her performance in 1992's Howard's End, and one for adapted screenplay for 95's Sense and Sensibility.
Yeah.
She was also nominated for her roles in 93's In the Name of the Father, 93's The Remains of the Day, and 95's Sense and Sensibility.
Yeah.
And I love that she's the teacher who is making it all up. She can't actually do this. Divination is the one magic that's pretty much bullshit.
Yeah.
And I love that. But I love that everybody kind of thinks that. Like, in this world where you can, like, move things, across the room with magic, you can open doors, you can kill people with magic, you can do anything with magic. Seeing the future? Fuck off. Come on. And she's great. Emma Thompson's great as Trelawney.
Oh my gosh, what a legend.
Excuse me.
I remember when I first was watching these and I was like, wait, who is that? Because, she's got a crazy costume on and the glasses. It's like, who's playing that professor? Oh my god, is that Emma Thompson?
Yeah. And again, Jesus. At the time when I saw this, I knew who any of these actors were.
Yeah.
So I found this all out later, after the fact.
Yeah, and I'm watching and I'm like, who the fuck is that professor? I really couldn't figure out who it was for like the longest time. And then I was like, oh my god, that might be Thompson. And I looked it up. Sure enough. the British legend herself.
Timothy Spall plays Peter Pettigrew, also known as Wormtail.
Man, it's just outrageous. Everybody's a goddamn legend.
He's the true servant of Voldemort who's been posing as Ron's pet rat Scabbers, which never really comes up. There's a lot of questions there.
Yeah.
Spall is an accomplished character actor appearing in films like Sweeney Todd, Mr. Turner, The Last Samurai, Enchanted, Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events, The Damned United, and The King's Speech.
Have you seen The Painter?
The Painter.
Yeah, with Timothy Spall?
No.
It was a couple years ago. Random movie. I don't know much people who saw it.
I saw Mr. Turner where he plays the...
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
JMW Turner.
You saw that?
I did see that.
It's really good, right?
I hated that movie so much.
What?
I thought it was so
Too
boring.
slow or okay,
Very boring.
He's great.
He is great, but I couldn't get into it. I didn't know what the hell was going on the whole time.
That's fair. Okay.
It's like you have to know everything about this guy's life.
He is a painter. Yeah. what year did that come out? Right?
2014.
A couple years ago?
2014.
Okay.
I loved him in Sweeney Todd. Such a piece of shit in that movie.
Him and Alan Rickman together are just oof.
Beetle Bailey, I think his name was.
Yeah.
Oof. Then
with that cane, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he does a great job at playing scumbags.
Yeah, he's good at it. Damned United, he's awesome in that, man.
Right on, man. And finally, Oscar winner Gary Oldman plays Sirius Black, whom we're led to believe is a known murderer and follower of Voldemort, but that's not the case. And I think that's the smartest bit of misdirection that Rowling ever did. Oldman is one of my all-time favorite actors. He won his first Oscar for 2017's Darkest Hour, and he was nominated for 2011's Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy as well. But he should have been up for so much more. He's been ignored by the Academy for decades. Just to name a few, Sid and Nancy, Leon the Professional, Immortal Beloved, The Dark Knight Trilogy, Dracula, Hannibal, True Romance, and The Fifth Element. He's a goddamn rock star.
Is it White Boy Day? Yeah, I love Gary Oldman. He's awesome. He's one of my favorites. Like, if I were making a movie, I'm like, I gotta find a place for Gary Oldman.
One of my go-to guys. Like, anytime I see him in a movie, I'm immediately like, all right, this is gonna be good.
I'll be fine. Yeah. He's there. Yeah, the movie might suck, but he's there. Yeah, no, he's awesome. And Sirius Black's definitely my favorite character of the franchise, books and movies.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I love this guy whose whole family is generations of evil, and he chose the right path.
But he's got this he's just got this edge to him where he's like Lupin. I see is kind of like Martin Luther King, and Sirius is like Malcolm X.
That's great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He might need to take a little bit extra action. I just like that. He's also, like, you think about this dude is probably a little bit insane. He's been in prison,
12 years.
That's a long
for a crime
time.
he didn't commit.
Exactly.
And this is Azkaban. Like, there's only one prison in this universe, which I made a Facebook post about that a while ago because it really bugs me. Like, no matter what your crime is, you get sent to the crazy wizard prison where the Dementors suck out your soul.
Well, yeah, it's like Escape from New York. It's like,
Murder, Azkaban. Tax evasion, Azkaban. Like, 3 strikes jaywalking, fucking Azkaban.
Yeah.
Like, there's no middle ground here. You need minimum security, man. Ugh. That just bothers me. But
amazing.
Yeah, I love Sirius has this, he's a kind person, but there's also this darkness in him for being, nearly driven crazy.
He's serious, yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful character. So the film, Azkaban, is definitely one of the better movies, if you can say that. It's just so brilliant.
Oh yeah, it's wonderfully constructed. Alfonso Cuarón. I love the build up where it's like fucking only halfway through the film where you have this moment where some of the best actors in the entire franchise are all on the screen together for the first time. You have Lupin and Sirius Black coming back together, and then Snape comes in, and he's like, I got you fuckers, and then Harry's like, what the hell is going on? Why, like, and then things are explained, and so much, if you don't know, for me, I hadn't read the books, when I first watched this movie, I was like, man, I feel like so much information was just given to me in, like, a 10-minute window, where now I'm like, okay, Harry's a pretty badass character, this backstory and the stuff with his dad and his mom is huge for me as someone who started watching when I was older. That kind of development was big for me to, like, get behind Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And it caused me to root for him a little bit more because I was like, I kind of like this like little gang that they had, the Marauders map. I kind of like all that. Midnight Marauders is one of my favorite albums of all time. Tribe Called Quest. Marauders map. I love that. I love those characters. Lupin, Sirius, and Harry's dad and Pettigrew. Picturing them as like kids, and then here they are like way later on, and then Harry's involved, and it's just monumental to me, and it's a really cool moment. And it could have been kind of sloppy, or I think if Columbus had control, it wouldn't have looked as cool. Wouldn't have been as dark as you were saying, or Cuarón just handled it really well.
And this is a film that needed that darkness because we're introduced to the Dementors.
It needs the edge. Sirius Black. Yeah, we need the edge. We need that. And it's the third film, but it's my favorite. It's the one I go back to if I'm watching one of them. This is the one I go back to. It's so entertaining. I love the twist at the end when Dumbledore's like, haha, you know what to do, you know.
The whole time turner.
Yeah, and Harry and Hermione are like, fuck, you know, and go back in time. It's great. It's great. It's just very, very, very fun. Well done. And I think the introduction of those particular characters, Lupin and Sirius, is like amazing to me because I love those guys. 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I also give this film a 9. I love the scene where we think Lupin is the bad guy.
Yes.
We think that he's the guy who let Sirius Black into the castle because we're led to believe this whole time that Sirius Black is a dangerous son of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's going to kill Harry the first chance he gets. And
Nope.
And when Snape shows up and he's just, oh, vengeance is sweet.
Yeah.
Like that old, God.
I knew it to be I that took you in. Yeah, it's just classic. Yeah.
So great.
It's an awesome moment.
I love when Harry jumps on Sirius and Sirius starts laughing. He's like, "Are you gonna kill me?" Like he's nuts, but
And
he's also so happy to see him.
Gary Oldman is so good at playing unhinged.
Yes.
He's so damn good at it. Love him. Yeah.
I love the time travel scene where they rescue Buckbeak and how Dumbledore is somehow in on it. Like he's so powerful, he transcends time. It's never made clear
like God,
why, but he just knows. It's crazy, but it's awesome.
Dumbledore is Jesus. Yeah, he just knows all.
Harry's giant Patronus he conjures at the lake.
Legendary.
Great scene. It's the first. I think it's the first movie where you see how powerful a wizard he is. Because before this, you don't really get that vibe at all.
Oh no!
But in this one,
this movie's the turning point.
Yeah,
it's clearly the turning point. Of
very
like,
much.
All right, yeah. One, they're in, hypothetically, they're in 8th grade. So it's like, all right, they're getting older. It's about to be high school. It's time to like actually, like you said, like realize my strengths as a wizard. So it's amazing.
Very true. One of my favorite bits is when Lupin becomes a werewolf.
Oh,
and
Snape
comes out and is like about to chide the kids for attacking him. He's pissed. He sees Lupin's werewolf and immediately puts himself between the kids and the werewolf. Like right there, you see Snape's true colors. I love that bit right there.
He's a teacher.
Yeah, he's a protector. Right there, he's like, I have to save these kids. Like so great.
It really is amazing.
Little things like that are why I love this franchise.
Severus.
So many little hints at what's to come. Mm-hmm. The foreshadowing in this franchise is unbelievable.
Well, and Severus's love for Lily ultimately is what like just drives him for a lot of what he does, and he's like
it drives both his hatred of Harry and his desire to protect him.
Exactly.
Which is
just genius characterization and development. It's awesome.
Yes, it is. Azkaban, wonderful.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Next is 2005's Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, directed by Mike Newell, who was the director of 4 Weddings and a Funeral, Donnie Brasco, and later Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time.
Yikes!
This film is even darker than Azkaban and marks a significant turning point for the franchise with the long-awaited return of Lord Voldemort.
Keeps going off that vibe, that Krong. Yeah.
Goblet of Fire has an IMDb score of 7.7, Rotten Tomatoes score of 88%, grossed $897 million on a budget of $150 million. It was nominated for 1 Oscar, Best Art Direction. And I was reading into it, this film was supposed to be split into 2 movies, but they couldn't figure out a breaking point, so they just decided to run with it. And I'm glad they did, because I think breaking it in half this early would have messed a lot of things up.
I think that would have been a horrible decision.
Yeah.
What, so then they have 9 movies?
Possibly.
Or 10, or if they broken up more? Yeah, no. Mm-hmm. I just like that Deathly Hallows is the only thing broken up. It's the only thing that deserves it.
Yes.
The book is fucking long as shit.
And it's all very crucial to the story.
Yeah.
You can't cut any of that out.
Well, a lot of part 1 is just kind of showing, just the magnitude of what's going on.
Yeah. Newcomers to the cast include Robert Pattinson as Cedric Diggory, Harry's rival in the film, but a decent guy that's tough to hate.
Batman!
Pattinson became famous for his role as Edward Cullen in the Twilight franchise, but has since done his best to distance himself from that role, appearing in indie films like Good Time, The Lost City of Z, High Life, Cosmopolis, and recently The Lighthouse. He's set to play Batman in the upcoming 2021 Matt Reeves film, The Batman.
Oh, yes.
I think he's going to be great.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Cedric is such a good character. He's just a good kid.
Degree.
Trying to get his degree. It's really all he is.
Yeah.
But he gets swept up in this bullshit with Voldemort. Ugh. Poor guy. Dude, his death might be one of the most tragic. It's one of the most tragic moments of the story.
I think it is.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's the most tragic. My pick for most tragic comes in Order of the Phoenix, and we'll get to that. But Cedric's is just so avoidable.
Yeah, that's why he's so innocent. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, but he had to die for this story to, he died so that you could believe Voldemort's a real threat.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't even kill him. He just says,
"Nah,
kill the Spare," and
Wormtail.
Timothy Spall does that shit.
Yep.
With ease.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you think a little bit.
And the saddest part is nobody believes Harry.
I know.
So sad. They're all like, he's making it up for attention. Like, he needs any more fucking attention.
Exactly. That's what I always point out. I'm like, you fucking dumbasses. Like, yeah.
Brendan Gleeson plays Alistair Mad-Eye Moody, ex-Auror and new professor of Defense Against the Dark Arts. Of course, Gleeson is really playing Barty Crouch Jr., playing Mad-Eye Moody, which is a goddamn brilliant performance. Gleeson is another favorite of mine, appearing in films like In Bruges, Gangs of New York, 28 Days Later, Troy, and the Mr. Mercedes series, just to name a few. Love Brendan Gleeson. He's so great.
Yes. I like the Gleeson family.
Yeah, they're all fucking talented. It's amazing.
They're great.
Just Irish royalty as far as I'm concerned. Like
Yeah.
they're so good. And personally, if I had to pick a favorite, it's In Bruges.
Same. In Bruges is ultimately entertaining.
Yeah.
Colin's
So
so
great.
good in that one.
If I was a farmer and retarded, I might like this place. I say that all the time.
That's a great quote.
Oh,
I don't
God.
think I've ever heard someone say that quote.
I love when Brendan Gleeson's just talking to Ray Fiennes. It's like, well, you know what? You're a cunt. Just out of nowhere. And Frank's, or I don't remember his name, but he's just, Ray Fiennes just looking at him like, you son of a bitch.
Wouldn't that be funny if that would have happened in Harry Potter? You're a fucking cunt, Voldemort. I'm sick of your shit.
Jesus, can you imagine?
Aren't you one of those half-blood bitches anyway?
Oh, wow. David Tennant plays the real Barty Crouch Jr., one of Voldemort's most trusted Death Eaters and son of Ministry official Barty Crouch. Tennant is, of course, best known for playing the 10th Doctor on Doctor Who for 3 seasons, as well as playing the sadistic villain Kilgrave on Netflix's Jessica Jones series. He's a fantastic actor, seems like a nice guy, too. I want to check out Good Omens, his recent Amazon series. But, yeah, he's considered by many to be the best Doctor on Doctor Who. Mm-hmm. And he's fucking great. He's so good.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, and as Barty Crouch Jr., it's a brief role, but it's a memorable role.
Mm-hmm.
He really does a lot with that character.
Yeah, it shows that even for small things, you need someone with talent.
Yeah. Like that little weird lip twitch he does.
Yeah,
I think that was his idea, and it turned into one of the most important things
You
in
need
the
something
movie.
to stand out, yeah.
So great.
Yeah.
Oscar nominee Miranda Richardson plays bitchy reporter Rita Skeeter. She was nominated for her performances in 1992's Damage and 1994's Tom and Viv. I personally loved her in Sleepy Hollow. And she is such a horrible fucking character in this. I hate her so much. Just manipulating everything. She's a much bigger character in the book. But I'm glad they included her briefly.
It seems to happen a lot with the female characters. They're like...
They do get way more to do in the book.
Yeah.
Especially Ginny.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's carved down to bare bones in the movie. Mm-hmm. She's really just there to be Harry's love interest. In the book, she does things,
which is just not believable. I'm still not convinced.
Finally, Oscar nominee Ralph Fiennes plays Lord Voldemort, the main villain of the series and one of the best movie villains of all time. He was nominated for his performances in 1993's Schindler's List and 1996's The English Patient. I love him in the Grand Budapest Hotel, In Bruges, and Red Dragon, among others.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
He's the best choice for Voldemort.
He's the only choice.
And he delivers.
Yes, he does.
He's scary as fuck. The second we see him, oh, shit. Mm-hmm. He's looking like a snake.
Oh, I love that. I love the scene when he forms in Goblet of Fire, and he's, floating in the air, and...
You almost don't expect it to happen. You think something's going to stop this.
Yeah.
But nope.
No, Robert Pattinson dies, and Harry has just literally nothing he can do about it.
Yeah.
It's a great scene.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. The whole movie's manipulated to get him there. So crazy. So brilliant. Goblet of Fire has, it's easily my second favorite behind the final movie. It's so good. Solid 9. And just a phenomenal watch. Like, it's just a fun watch.
Yeah, it's a 9 for me as well. I agree. The entertainment level is very high.
The whole idea of the Triwizard Tournament was really cool.
Oh, genius. I totally understand if someone would say that this is their favorite, or they think this is the best one. It is. It's like action packed.
I don't think Caleb likes this one. I think he
just doesn't like it.
Yeah, he doesn't like it.
Why?
I don't remember why, but he told me he's not a fan of this one.
But he's a fan of the other ones.
Yes.
All right. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he told me that once.
It's really good. Yeah, like you said, the Triwizard thing. One thing that's always been funny to me about Goblet of Fire is that they introduce at the beginning Quidditch to be this phenomenon, this worldwide phenomenon where there's a World Cup.
Yes.
For Quidditch, and who's playing in that is Victor Crumb.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Victor Crumb, okay, fair enough, cool. It's like the world's best Quidditch player. And then he shows up to their school for the Triwizard Tournament because he's a part of the school, of one of the 3 schools that are there. So, how old is he?
Like 17 at least.
He's the best Quidditch player in the world?
Typically, in real life, if you're in the NFL, you're not also in high school.
Typically, well, like that would be like, yeah, that would be like a kid who's going to steal, who's like a senior in high school, and people are like, he's the best quarterback in the entire universe. Like, no, he's not. There's guys who are 35 years old, or grown men who are playing. You know,
I don't know how that.
It always fascinated me because it's like it's not a big deal. It really isn't. But I think about sports a lot. I like sports a lot, and I was just always like, man, that guy must be headed for big things. Like, if he's that good at this age, like, the ceiling is like, oh my god. Or maybe Quidditch stops at a certain age. I don't know. I'm not sure. I just thought that was really funny. And then he just happens to be in one of the schools that shows up to Hogwarts, and they're like, there's Victor Crumb. and then he asks, so the best Quidditch player in the world asks a sophomore to that dance. Yeah. Kind of weird.
Yeah, there's a lot weird about Crumb.
About Crumb, really, that's it though. Because I've like Goblet of Fire. I've like each Harry Potter film I've like watched like with like kind of an intense lens.
Yeah.
And that's really my pick of nits. That's my only like issue, and it's not really even an issue with the story. It's just Victor Crumb. What's up with this guy? Is he just a phenomenon, like a 16-year-old just fucking beast? Like, I don't know. Because there would be like articles about him, you know? Oh, that's amazing. It's really funny.
I think he is the most famous human being on the planet in this universe. He's got to be.
Yeah, like kids have posters of him who are the same age as him.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Unless he got like really held back. Like,
what country they're from? Hungary?
That's Bulgaria.
Bulgaria. Yeah. Okay. Maybe there's different. I don't know. It's really funny. But oh my god, I would love a movie like, surrounding around the Quidditch World Cup or something. You know, that would be fucking cool. Like an intense.
They made a video game about that.
Yeah, I never played it. Or never got a chance to play it. Yeah, that's always been fascinating to me though. If someone could like make a really, like some sort of simulation of a like really intense Quidditch match between like men. You know.
You know they have like fantasy Quidditch leagues.
Oh yeah, like at A&M, like at like colleges and stuff. Yeah.
At Texas State, they had a Quidditch team.
Yeah.
That was basically, it was soccer. You just held a broom the whole time.
Yeah, so you like ride around on a broom and you're like running.
And I'm looking at these people.
Ride around.
I'm thinking like, you people are out of your fucking
and
minds.
they throw a ball, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
they
a
have
soccer
hoops
ball
and everything, and I'm just like, wow. Dude, that's like being, registered as a certified Jedi. It's crazy. It's not real, folks. It's not real.
What? Okay, at that point, just play without the brooms. Just run around and play handball.
Just play fucking soccer.
Or
just.
Oh yeah. Put it on your goddamn feet and play like human beings. You're not wizards.
For Christ's sake.
Yeah, I think that's really weird. Like, well, and can you imagine, like, there's guys at like parties who are like, yeah, like I scored a lot of goals in my Quidditch match. Like, oh my god. You're sucking your own dick tonight.
Jesus. It's just sad, dude. The way people take this fandom and turn it into like their entire way of life. It's just a movie, guys. It's freaky when you start doing shit like that.
Yeah, I know, man. It's like people take it to the nth degree.
Yeah. I love the movies. I do. I have a wand. It's a prop. I don't think I'm a wizard.
I'm not running around on my goddamn broom.
I'm not jumping off the roof trying to fly. God damn it. It's just ridiculous to me, man.
I agree.
But, yeah, Crumb is strange. Got off on his... Maybe in Bulgaria, in this universe, instead of, like, military conscription, they have, like, Quidditch conscription. Or you need to do, like, 4 years on the Quidditch team or something.
That's very possible.
And he's just really good at it.
Yeah, just a natural.
Who knows? I think the scene where Harry brings Cedric's body back is quite possibly the most heartbreaking scene in the whole goddamn franchise.
He's back!
Just watching everybody realize Cedric's dead and the happiness just die immediately. Whew. It's tough to watch that scene.
Unbelievable.
And the guy who plays Amos Diggory, wow, dude. Like, way to deliver.
Yeah. Who is that?
I don't know.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, look him up. But he is just... God, he looks like Benjamin Franklin.
Yes, he does. Those glasses.
But I feel... Dude, you feel his pain in that scene. Oh. That's why I thought it was brilliant to bring him back in the Cursed Child story. Because he would, be working on a way to fix that. So smart. Ooh, yeah.
Jeff Rawle.
Props, man.
Jeff Rawle, well done with, yeah. Whew. Little to work with, but well done.
Oh, for sure. I guess that sums it up on Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, man.
We covered everything we wanted to cover.
I really enjoy this one. Again, it just keeps getting more intense, especially now that Voldemort is physically here.
This is the one also where we first start getting, hormones. The kids start falling in love with each other.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Harry has a thing for Cho Chang, this Scottish girl who's dating Cedric. Because, of course.
Of course.
And you get the first kind of seeds of sparks between Ron and Hermione.
Yes.
Which they all have terrible hair in this, too. I just want to mention that.
Yeah, the hair always goes with the time, and this was, 2005, right?
Yeah. So, Harry looks older in Azkaban than he does in this one.
Yes, indeed.
So, all right, that about wraps it up on Goblet of Fire. Next was 2007's Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Arguably the darkest yet in the franchise. It was directed by David Yates, who would direct the remainder of the franchise. He was a British television actor who also directed 2016's The Legend of Tarzan. The film was written by Michael Goldenberg, who also wrote 2003's Peter Pan, 2011's Green Lantern, and he's set to write Artemis Fowl. And I'm not really sure why Steve Kloves left for just this franchise entry. I can't seem to find any information on that. I guess only he knows. Order of the Phoenix has an IMDb score of 7.5, Rotten Tomatoes score 78%, grossed $940 million on a budget of $150 million, cut quite a lot from the book, but still delivered a solid movie.
Oh, yes.
And I had issues with this one for the longest time because it cut so much out. But, as I got older, I realized this is a pretty good movie.
Yeah, you're especially as you get older, you're like, okay, well, I don't want this to be 3 hours, so okay, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You're like, I understand, yeah.
Yeah.
It does suck. You have to kill your darlings a little bit in your own mind because they're gonna essentially steal stuff from you.
Yeah.
Because you have it in your when you're reading, you have it in your imagination.
Yes.
This is what I see. This is what I want to see, and when it's not there, it's frustrating. But I think Order of the Phoenix just gets better and better every time I rewatch it. There's things I kind of catch and. Little storylines here and there that I'm just like, oh yeah, that's a fun, it's a methodical movie. I really enjoy it. Like you said, it's very, very dark.
Yes.
It gets to it. I really enjoy the like political aspects of it.
Oh, I think that's brilliant. Yeah.
Where it starts reflecting things that have happened in our history, things that are happening currently, how history repeats itself, and how power. That old quote where when people don't realize the power of love, instead they love power. That whole thing, it's very obvious in Order of the Phoenix.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely. That kind of thing.
Sucks. Yeah, it's kind of crushing to watch this movie, but you're but it's so essential, and especially once you see the entire franchise and read all the books, this one becomes one of your favorites because you want to revisit it because you're like, oh, I kind of want to revisit that dark side, you know?
It's a great idea to show, like, this world already suffered Voldemort. And the idea that he could possibly come back would shatter everybody. So I get that Fudge, on some level, doesn't want to incite a panic, but the way he goes about it is horrible.
It's wrong.
It's terrible. He alienates Dumbledore and Harry and paints them as, like, raving lunatics.
As loonies, yeah.
And he, it's horrible.
I beg of you, Cornelius.
Newcomers to the cast included Oscar nominee Imelda Staunton as the most evil, vile bitch who ever lived, Dolores Umbridge, the new professor of Defense Against the Dark Arts and ministry official. She was nominated for her role in 2004's Vera Drake, and in some circles, she's considered more evil than Voldemort.
Yeah, no, she's my you-know-who. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a goddamn sadist who tortures children. She's the reason this movie's so tough to watch.
Yeah, I can't stand her.
Oh, just her pinkness. Ugh. The way she interrupts Dumbledore.
Well, just well done. That actress, she's on it.
Yeah. And I love that she appears later on as another obstacle they have to overcome.
Yep.
And just, it is heavily implied she ends up raped by centaurs, which is unfortunate.
Is it, though?
In the book. Oh, God.
I mean, she kind of tortured children.
You want to hear something really fucked up?
I know it's fucked, but...
So I was talking to I was watching this movie with my grandma, and I mentioned that. And she immediately asked me, was there a baby? And I'm like, whoa, okay. I wasn't thinking about that. Now it's all I'm thinking about. Thank you so much, my mom. God damn. I couldn't believe that. I hope not. God. It's just not information I needed to have in my head. It's not an idea I wanted to explore. But in the book, it's pretty implied. In the movie, she just gets dragged away.
Yeah.
But still satisfying. Either way.
For sure.
Ivana Lynch plays...
Yeah.
She plays Luna Lovegood, dewy-eyed Ravenclaw student who befriends the Big Three. She was a big fan of the Potter series before nabbing the role, but she hasn't really done anything significant since the end, probably because this was such a big deal to her. And she's great. She's a great character. I think Harry should have ended up with her.
It always made more sense. We've talked about that. Their chemistry is just way better.
Yeah.
Like, there's moments, like later down the line when like Harry kisses Ginny and you're like, nah.
They have a lot in common. They both lost people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I just feel like they work. Oscar nominee Helena Bonham Carter was cast as psycho Death Eater Bellatrix Lestrange after the original actress, Helen McCrory, dropped out due to pregnancy. She would later be cast as Malfoy's mother, Narcissa. Carter was nominated for her roles in 97's The Wings of the Dove and 2010's The King's Speech. She's known mostly for her work with ex-boyfriend Tim Burton, appearing in films like Sweeney Todd, Dark Shadows, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Corpse Bride, and Planet of the Apes. In addition, she's also appeared in Fight Club and a number of other well-known films.
Yeah.
She's a great actress.
She really is.
I think she's kind of a bad person, though.
Yeah, I've read that. I'm not really sure.
She's a homewrecker.
Yeah.
Big time.
Frustrating.
Yeah. But...
I killed Sirius Black!
Oh, God. That's the scene that... Yeah, let's go there. That's the scene
it's arguably the best...
It's the most heartbreaking...
15, 20 minutes of the entire series.
Sirius Black's sudden death is... It's the most heartbreaking scene for me. It's, like, the worst.
Yeah, I hate it. I still hate it.
It's so unnecessary.
I hate going on without him, too. Mm-hmm. I'm like, fuck, I want him there. Yeah.
The only family Harry had left, gone like that. And just you can feel the anguish in Harry. He's already been through so much in this movie, man.
Yeah, I know. And that's just epic, though, that they went there cinematically, you know.
Oh, yes.
Epic. And then, obviously, Bellatrix trotting away, singing, I killed Sirius Black. I killed Sirius Black.
And Harry tries to launch the fucking Cruciatus curse at her.
Yes,
big character shift for Harry there.
Yes.
Fails though because he doesn't mean it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't totally. It's not totally there. So
you got that great duel between Dumbledore and Voldemort.
Well, yeah. Right after that, is when we get
one of the best scenes.
It's just so epic. You know, the scale is
the power in that ring right there.
Yeah. Two of the most powerful wizards.
Pure good versus pure evil, just straight up.
Just.
And it's Voldemort holding his own against the Elder Wand, too, which is pretty damn impressive.
And then Harry just watching, like...
Yeah, unable to do anything here. You've got those, the occlumency lessons between Harry and Snape, where Snape is the worst goddamn teacher in the world.
Yes.
Just invading Harry's mind to try to teach him how to steal it, but he doesn't know how because Snape doesn't fucking tell him how.
Bastards.
Ugh. Yeah, this is a great entry. It's more of a political movie than anything else, but it's I think it's the most necessary of the series. Like if we're ever not going to skip one, it's this. I think you need a lot of this movie.
Oh yeah,
yeah, for this bigger part of the story.
Extremely essential. Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. I'd give that an 8.
Yeah, it's a solid 8 for me as well. Yeah.
Props.
I think we're going to be kind of similar. So what we have, I had the first two 7-7. You had them as both 8s.
Yes.
Azkaban we both had 9. Mm-hmm. Goblet we both had 9.
Yeah.
And this one we had 8. So here we are on to
Harry Potter.
Another wonderful entry.
Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, 2009. Also directed by David Yates, and Steve Kloves returned for the screenplay. It also cut a significant amount from the book, but was a good entry nonetheless. We don't get all of Voldemort's origin story, which was a shame because I thought that was fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Half-Blood Prince, IMDb score of 7.6, Rotten Tomatoes 83%, grossed $934 million on a budget of $250. It was nominated for 1 Oscar for Best Cinematography, and I am still bitter about the release date of this movie. It was supposed to come out November 2008, and it got pushed to July 2009, and I was pissed. And they told us like 2 weeks before it came out. I wanted to kill somebody.
Crazy. do you know like what exactly the reasoning was that they moved it from like the holiday time to summer?
They wanted a summer release, and I think they had some post-production stuff to do.
I feel like typically though those Harry Potter movies came out in the fall, right? Or in the winter?
Some of them did. Most of them were summer releases.
They were? Okay. Yeah.
Newcomers to the cast include Oscar winner Jim Broadbent, who plays new potions master Horace Slughorn. Broadbent won for his performance in 2001's Iris. Broadbent also appeared in Moulin Rouge, Hot Fuzz, and he appeared in Season 7 of Game of Thrones as Archmaester Ebrose. He's in a ton of stuff, always delivers when he shows up. My favorite is Hot Fuzz.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hands down.
Inspector Frank Butterman. Come on.
Butterman.
It's the only time I've ever seen him play a straight up bad guy.
Hot Fuzz is so much fun.
It is so much fun.
It's ridiculous.
You've got a mustache. I know. Oh my god. My cousin and I quote that all the time.
It's classic.
Yeah. We do the rambling farmer a lot. We just isn't saying words. That whole part. That is so much fun to do. Yeah. Broadbent does a great job as Slughorn. The only decent Slytherin in the whole damn series. Mm-hmm. He collects famous people, which is a little weird.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. He needs something to do, I guess.
Everybody needs a hobby.
Yeah, exactly.
Helen McCrory plays Narcissa Malfoy, Draco's mother. She also appeared in The Count of Monte Cristo, The Queen, and she's a leading character on Peaky Blinders.
Yes. Fuck yeah. She's fucking Tom Shelby's mom.
Aunt, right?
Aunt or mom? Oh, yeah, their mom's dead.
Aunt Polly.
Yeah, because their mom's dead.
Yes.
Yeah. Duh.
I'm so behind. I'm like 2 seasons behind.
I've watched the newest one. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ever gonna go back.
It's really good.
After we lost Sam Neill, I was just like,
yeah, Sam Neill was probably my favorite aspect. Whenever it was Neil and Murphy on the screen, I was like, man,
I don't know.
It's a cool show. It's really entertaining.
Yeah.
Awesome dialogue.
It's a cool.
All of the Peaky Blinders.
It's a cool look on a piece of history I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, which is always fun. It's like just foreign,
Yeah. And Helen McCrory was really she's a good character. She just doesn't really stand out a lot because there's not a lot of focus on her.
Yeah.
You do get that great scene where Snape and Bellatrix do the unbreakable vow. Which is great, where you kind of really start to question Snape's loyalties for the first time.
And he says, like, Bellatrix is like laughing about Dumbledore, and he's like, he is a great wizard.
Yeah.
It's really, it's amazing. That whole bit.
Only
awesome.
a fool would question it.
Yes. Only. Take out your wand.
I was like,
so good.
in that scene where Snape just goes, "Put it back, Bellatrix. We mustn't touch what isn't ours."
Yeah. Only Rickman.
Alan Rickman's a goddamn international treasure.
Indeed.
And this film sees Harry get a hold of a potions book belonging to somebody known as the Half-Blood Prince. And in this book are extra notations and mysterious spells he's never heard of. And that really isn't nearly as explored as it is in the book. It's really important in the book.
I know.
It's kind of an afterthought in the movie.
Which is ridiculous because are you kidding me? Look at this.
We get like a cheat
code.
We get barely revealed that Snape is the Half-Blood Prince. And it doesn't really matter.
No, it's just a cool moment of dialogue, that's it.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame.
I am the Half-Blood Prince.
And this entry is known mostly as the one where Dumbledore dies.
Yes.
Where Snape kills him. And it's very much a whoa moment. Biggest shock so far.
Yes.
Because up to this point, you think Snape's a good guy, and then this happens, and you're just like, fuck. I remember when we got this book, my mom read it first and told me, you're gonna like brace yourself.
Yeah.
I said, like, why, does somebody die? And she went like, and I'm like, oh shit, who dies? And she's like, I won't tell you, but yes. And so I kept reading, and for some reason, I was convinced it was Hagrid. I thought Hagrid died. I don't know why.
That would be so cruel.
And then it happened, and I'm like, oh, it's Dumbledore. Oh, God. Yeah, that was a big moment.
Epic scene. Yeah, you got Snape coming up like behind Harry, and he's like, shh. And then, yeah.
And, of course, we get the introduction of the Horcruxes, which are the items that contain bits of Voldemort's soul, and in order to kill him for good, you have to destroy all of these items, and they could be anything, and they could be anywhere.
Yes.
And it's really difficult to destroy them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have Dumbledore telling Harry to do a lot of things in Half-Blood Prince and kind of guiding him, like, hey, get close with this Slughorn character,
Yeah.
And so he does, and, finds out about that memory, where he's asking, like, what if you want to split it up into 7 parts? And Slughorn's like, Jesus, mate, like, what do you want to do that for? It's just like, this Tom Riddle guy was just a creepy little fuck. He's just evil. And
because the way to make a Horcrux is to kill somebody.
Yeah, so he's like, you want to kill 7 people? 1 is enough. And he's like, oh, it's hypothetical. It's for class. Like, what class? Fucking creepy-ass kid.
What class?
This kid should have been sent to some kind of psychiatrist a long time ago. But,
all they got is Azkaban.
That's right, yeah. No matter what. This movie is just it's again very essential. It just gets more and more important what's happening content wise and what you're finding out, the information. I do wish that the film was a little longer. I'd be okay with it if they could dive a little bit more into how important that book is.
I think you tone down the whole Ron Lavender thing. We don't need all that.
Yes, I know. What a waste of time.
I know.
This movie is like close. That would make it my favorite movie of the whole. If it didn't have that and you added a little bit more detail, it would make it a 10 for me too. But that part's really annoying.
Yes,
it's so like rom-com, like teen, like, well, we gotta have this in here, don't we? Like, no, you don't. No, you don't.
No, you
should have left that shit out, man. It kind of fucks with the tempo of the movie as well. And you also, when you're looking back at the whole franchise altogether, I try to forget about that. Because, again, it ruins the flow. The tempo of how dark it is and how evil things are getting and how scary things are getting. And I just don't like that trope. It's not for me.
I agree.
There's other movies that have that. I can go watch Twilight anytime on TNT every fucking Friday night. So
I can't fucking stand love triangles. I hate
Neither
that
can
so
I.
much.
I can't. They really bother me.
It's such a waste of time.
Again, it's a trope that's overused, like, more than anything, and I'm so fucking tired of it. And to have it in this is like, nah. There's so many other cool things you could be talking about right now. It's just frustrating. It really is, because Half-Blood is almost perfect.
Yeah.
It lacks that, like you said, the book that Harry finds, that's Snape's, lacks that detail, and then, added some stuff in that was just clearly for entertainment.
Got the brutal wand fight between him and Malfoy.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Where Harry uses that spell in the book that rips Malfoy open.
Yeah.
Which, again, touched on way more in the book. Snape is like, where the hell did you get that spell? Because it's his spell. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he wants to know what the hell's going on. That does not come up in the movie.
Which is shocking. Like, how would that not come up?
The whole fight scene at the Burrow, none of that's in the book.
Nope.
You ditch all of that. You have room for all the stuff that did need to be there.
It actually happened. Yeah.
This one, I think, is the biggest divide between book and movie. And I give it an 8 because it is entertaining, but there's so much that could have been done here. Yeah,
it's a 9 for me. I really, really enjoy it, and I really like the tone of it, but there's just, there's just a couple of hiccups that hinder it. Yeah, I really like it, though. Really enjoy it.
Yes. Next, the decision was made to split the final book into 2 movies so as not to leave out any crucial bits of story, and I'm sure having $2 billion winners was a good move on studio's part.
Yeah.
2010's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, also directed by David Yates. IMDb score 7.7, Rotten Tomatoes 77%, grossed $960 million on a budget of $250. It was nominated for 2 Oscars, Best Art Direction and Best Visual Effects, and the final 2 were by far the darkest entries, featuring a number of scenes that were straight up horror. Like the snake coming out of the woman. The fuck was that?
Yeah, how about that?
Newcomers to the cast included Bill Nighy as new Minister for Magic Rufus Scrimgeour. Nighy is another favorite of mine, particularly in his role as Davy Jones in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
Legendary.
He was great in Love Actually, Pirate Radio, and the Underworld series, just to name a few. Fucking love that guy.
Yeah, indeed.
So good. I love him in Love Actually, just throwing Christmas onto a bunch of love songs. So funny. And he's scary as Davy Jones. Such a cool bad guy.
I love Davy Jones, man.
Do you fear death? That weird, inflection in his voice. I don't know how he does that, but it's so, his.
It's haunting, daunting.
I actually wish he had a bigger role in this movie. The character of Rufus Scrimgeour really doesn't matter.
I know. It's there probably so he can...
He's there for the will.
Fun.
Yeah. Domhnall Gleeson plays Bill Weasley, Ron's older brother. Gleeson is the son of Brendan Gleeson and has come into his own as an actor, appearing in films like Ex Machina, The Little Stranger, Mother, and the new Star Wars trilogy as General Hux. Mm-hmm. Definitely an up-and-comer to take, to keep an eye on the next few years. Rhys Ifans plays Xenophilius Lovegood, Luna's eccentric father. Ifans has appeared in films like The Amazing Spider-Man, Snowden, Pirate Radio, and he played Mycroft Holmes on the series Elementary. And I don't really like this guy, to be honest.
Neither do I.
I've heard he's kind of a prick.
Does that surprise you? Not really.
Not really, no. He's my least favorite movie Spider-Man villain, without a doubt. His
Same.
lizard is such a goddamn waste.
Same.
Both of those movies suck. Can't stand them. Amazing Spider-Man.
There's not really any aspects that are good about them.
They're a waste of money.
And they're a waste of Andrew Garfield's talent. It's like, man,
and Emma
what
Stone's
was he
talent.
doing? Yeah, exactly.
Dennis Leary and Jamie Foxx and everyone in that is good in other stuff, but fucking sucks in that. It's crazy. Ugh. So Deathly Hallows Part 1, a lot of people have issues with this one. They think it's kind of plotting. They think that that weird dancing scene in the tent doesn't really need to be there, and I get that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Little Nick Cave. It's weird. I get that. But
yeah.
It's 2 friends who are about to collapse, finding comfort in each other.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
But there's also some great scenes in this, like the break-in at the Ministry is
oh my god,
is great.
Fucking epic. The
I must not tell lies. Pyong!
The intensity of when Harry is drowning in water, and when Ron saves him, is fucking intense as shit. There's a moment there where you're like, man, Harry might get hurt here.
The
right?
darkness in the Horcrux scares me, man. It's
yeah.
pure, absolute evil.
I want no part of this journey.
No.
No thanks.
I love that this, what makes Ron finally take that thing out is watching naked ghost Hermione make out with naked ghost Harry. That was too much for him.
That was the turning point.
Oh, but I like this. I think that it was smart to split them because it really does not leave anything out.
No.
Even characters who were important before, who we never saw, are now here, like, to be important now. Like Mundungus Fletcher.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you need him in this story. You didn't need him before, but you need him now. And I don't know. I like bringing Dobby back. I thought that was smart.
I think that's a brilliant idea.
I'm glad
and it like makes you cry. Yeah.
Oh, dude, his heroic sacrifice, man.
So sad.
It hurts.
So sad.
Uh,
Happy to be with my friends. My friend Harry Potter.
Dude, my heart breaks every goddamn time.
I know.
So sad.
It is amazing.
But yeah, I think what pissed me off the most when I saw this was I knew I had to wait a year for the ending.
Yeah.
That hurt.
I'm sure that was terrible.
That sucked.
Really, fuck, part 2.
Oh, boy. But there are some scenes in this that are unforgettable, like when they go to Godric's Hollow and they meet Bathilda Bagshot, who's actually Nagini in, like, a human skin. That was freaky.
Pretty fucking creepy, I would say.
And you get the tale of the three brothers, where you are introduced to the Deathly Hallows, and that's a brilliant bit of animation.
I love that part. That's one of the most rewatchable parts to me, and especially Emma Watson's voiceover is like, it's amazing.
Oh, yes. And the Deathly Hallows are the Resurrection Stone, which can put you in touch with the ghosts of your loved ones, but you'll never be able to touch them. It's the curse. The Invisibility Cloak, which hides you from your enemies, and the Elder Wand, the most powerful wand in existence, which makes the user pretty much invincible. And that's what Voldemort's after, and it's the wand in Dumbledore's grave. It's his wand. Mm-hmm. And I love that you get a brief scene where Voldemort goes to a prison somewhere. I don't think it's Azkaban, and he meets Gellert Grindelwald.
Yeah, where is that?
No idea.
I would love to know more about that.
No idea where he's in prison.
Happening.
I'm surprised he's not dead. People rarely, get arrested in this universe. Especially Dark Lords.
Dark Lord.
But, Grindelwald is played by Johnny Depp in the prequel series, Fantastic Beasts. Yeah. And it's just interesting to see Voldemort chat with Grindelwald. It's weird. Grindelwald knows who he is, too.
Exactly.
He's following his work.
And just, know what we know now. Yeah. It's really amazing.
Yeah. And solid flick, I think. 8 for me.
It's 8, 8 for me as well.
Yeah.
Good setup.
Good setup. Very good setup.
And then, like you said, that anticipation. Just like, all right, here we go. Let's fucking do this.
Finally, we have 2011's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. My personal favorite of the franchise, one of the greatest movies ever made.
It's so epic. The scale, the quality.
Oh,
you had it number 2 on your list.
I did.
2010s.
Directed by David Yates, it ends this incredible franchise with a bang. IMDb score of 8.1. Rotten Tomatoes scored 96%. Grossed $1.34 billion on a budget of $250 million. Was nominated for 3 Oscars: Best Makeup, Best Visual Effects, and Best Art Direction.
Should have been up for Best Picture.
It should have, yes. This movie is pure cinematic brilliance. It's so good. The music, Alexandre Desplat's beautiful score, It really sets the tone of this is the end.
Yeah.
And I ranted a lot about this in our top 10 of the 2010s podcast, but I'm ready to go again.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'll get my 2 cents in here.
Oh hell yeah!
Deathly Hallows Part 2 is like one of the most finally, precisely, well done finales when it could have gone a lot of ways. I think it could have been very sloppy.
Yes.
They did the 2-part thing. It was very smart. Set this up for this to be pretty action packed and pretty non-stop the entire time, and essentially a war movie.
Yeah.
If you really look at it as just like what
the Battle of Hogwarts,
like what the genre would be. Yeah, you would say it's like a war film, and the combat is really fucking good. Watching Snape and McGonagall, fucking, it's just electric. It's literally like watching electricity just fire back at each other, and it looks good. It's been 8 years, and it still looks really good. Stands the test of time. The performances are the best in this one because everybody's at their fucking peak. This is it. Everybody, you can clearly tell that like Radcliffe is like, fuck, like this is like he's pouring. He's like acting good by the time Deathly Hallows Part 2 rolls around. You know what I mean? Same with Emma Watson, same with Rupert Grint. They're all like on a different level, and you can feel it. It's one of the rare finales where the hype actually delivered and then exceeded.
Yeah.
To point out other ones, I would say Lord of the Rings, Return of the King did that exact same thing. Then there's like big stuff like Game of Thrones, Lost, like TV shows that kind of like don't quite have that capping.
Breaking Bad had that.
Breaking Bad has a really good ending. What are the franchises? Star Wars, we don't know yet. MCU, awesome ending. But I just think it's really rare that the finale is superior to the movies before it.
Yeah.
Like all of them, and that's what Deathly Hallows Part 2 is. If everything's up to just another notch, and I know you agree with me.
Yes.
I know you echo these feelings. You probably just feel stronger than I do. And speaking from someone who just watched these movies, at age 19, I was fucking blown away by this movie, just as a standalone. If it looks spectacular, the score notches it up another, fucking 20%, and puts it through the roof. Everything's great. All cylinders are hit. And I'm like really glad I dove into this because the payoff and the reward is so fucking good.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that final battle scene is it's awesome. You're watching Hogwarts, and when you're watching these characters, Neville and Seamus, all these kids that have been along for the ride, and you're watching them and they're like, Hogwarts is like in a bad place, man. It's darker than it's ever been, man. And you're just like, oh, I've been here. Like I've watched all fucking 8 of these movies, and here I am. That's 18 hours of my life, given to these movies and then some, because I rewatch them and I revisit them. I'm going to continue doing so.
Yes.
I'm certainly going to show my daughter them, and I'm going to encourage her to read the books at a young age. And I just think it's a timeless story, and it's a huge part of our pop culture for a reason. I love this. I love this finale. I love this capper. It's a 9 out of 10 for me.
Solid 10, easy 10 for me.
I would hope so. If it's your second favorite movie of the decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so mesmerizing. I cry every time I watch this movie. It means so much to me. Wonderful film.
Yeah. There's no caption.
There is nothing. Yeah.
Nothing you can say about it. It's one of those special ones. Yeah.
Totally.
It's in that group like with Return of the King. It's just like special. It's really special.
It's got some incredible set pieces. I love going back to Gringotts. Getting to see the various Horcruxes and destroying them, going back to the Chamber of Secrets.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like fan service, but it all makes sense.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah. And
you get that. What do you think of the epilogue, where you can see them as adults putting their kids on the train?
I could go without it, but I'm fine with it. I'm not like mad about it, but I could go without it for sure.
That was one of the first things J.K. wrote when she started writing the series. Was that epilogue?
Fair enough then. That's totally fine.
Pretty cool. It's nice to know where you're going.
Yeah. Now you just gotta figure out the journey.
Yeah, that's the hardest part.
The destination's easy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like in my own work, I've known how I wanted to end that vampire series from the beginning.
Of course.
But getting there was a bitch.
Yeah. The pages in between. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's life.
It is. That's life.
When you watch The Wire, there's a famous quote from The Wire. It's Lester Freeman is talking, and he's talking to Jimmy McNulty, the main character, and he's like, "A life, Jimmy. You know what that is?" And he's like, "No, man. What is it? It's the shit that happens when you're waiting for moments that never come."
Damn. Woo! That's profound.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So it's about the journey. It's about the pages in between. It's about all that the little stuff that you're doing. That's really what's happening.
And in this franchise, I thoroughly enjoyed every page.
Exactly. I enjoy the journey. I love the destination, but I love the journey. I enjoy every aspect of it. Otherwise, there's no point in the 8 films, in these 7 books, if you don't enjoy the little things in between.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's what makes it a great franchise. Is that there is no, there's no quote unquote weak point. I think, of course, there's movies that are better than others, or books that are better than others, because that's just how things go.
Yeah.
But overall, this is just an awesome franchise.
It is.
It really is one of my favorites.
J.K. Rowling managed to create a multi-billion-dollar empire with this idea of a little boy with glasses who didn't know he was a wizard.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. She changed pop culture forever.
Oh, yeah. Well, and here's something that I find to be very cool about it, is that it's taught you and I some British culture. We've watched actors that we probably wouldn't have watched if it weren't for Harry Potter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of course, we would have found our way to Gary Oldman. But would we really be big David Thewlis fans if it weren't for Remus Lupin?
I don't know.
Would we really know who Maggie Smith is if it weren't for Professor McGonagall? Would we really like Alan Rickman? I mean, of course, Die Hard's great, but Snape, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is huge. It's like so essential to kids in America seeing this British culture, and I like that. I think that's good. I think that's good to kind of learn different dialect and different how people speak. Our English is not the only English. That's always good to remember. You know, there's different ways to say things, and I think that's a big part of why I love it too. Is that it's kind of foreign, you know, because you're in England the whole time. So that's really cool. I like that part of it too.
Very true, man. Wow. Yeah, this is a hell of a franchise, and it's never gonna die. This will be like we'll be talking about this for decades.
Yeah.
The franchise did continue with the prequel Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them from 2016, and that spawned a new series that is going to have its third entry next year sometime, or I think 2021. But that's for another time.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that. Honestly, I don't like them.
They're whatever. Yeah. We'll get to those some other day.
They're just not worth it to me.
They're not. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you half the characters' names, which is pretty sad. They just don't have it. I don't know what it is, but they don't have it.
I like the cast. I don't really get it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's weird taking it to America.
Yeah. I just talked about how cool it
Exactly.
how cool it is to like be in London and then Hogwarts, and you're around British people the whole time. Then they just like
Plus,
let's put it in New York.
The Fantastic Beasts series really doesn't have any kind of direction. They're just kind of winging it.
And what do I care? Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was a book that Harry was reading that's referenced only in the first book, Sorcerer's Stone. Like, what do I care?
And his story doesn't even matter because it's about Dumbledore and Grindelwald's fight.
Exactly.
Like, why is Newt Scamander even here?
Exactly. That's not clever to me. That wasn't cool. There's so many other ways they could have gone.
Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald was the first entry in this franchise I did not like.
Yeah. I've always been partial to the Snape prequel. I want to see Snape when he was like 20.
Yeah, let's do the Marauders.
Or that. I just don't understand. You have all these incredible characters that we already have a foundation on.
What about
fucking use one of them?
Voldemort's first rise to power.
Yeah, anything but what they did is my thing. It's like you could even do like Arthur and Molly in their 20s when they first got married and were having all these fucking kids. Like I would love to know what they were doing. Not. That's weird, but you know what I mean. Like I want to know.
She was pregnant for like 6 years.
Yeah, they've been good people for so long. I want to know how have they sustained this for so long? What like other work have they been doing within the community? Voldemort. I mean, Dumbledore as a kid. Jesus Christ. Any of them. Like
I would be
Sirius Black and all the.
I think the
Marauders.
Dumbledore Grindelwald story is a cool story. They're just telling it really badly.
Yeah, they're telling it from an angle that I just don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Exactly.
And it was like the first one from 2016 was like, what is this, like a zoo movie? Because there's like just a bunch of like goofy monsters.
Yeah.
And it was like cute, the little like platypus thing that stole. It was cute, but I was like, what does this mean? What is this? What's going on here, right? Like you're just entertaining me for the sake of entertainment. I don't like that. You need to tell me a story or do something. You know.
How the hell is John Voight here? Things like that. Yeah,
man, not for me. So yeah, that's why we stuck with the 8 films.
Exactly. And I think we covered that big time very well. So let's take a look at what happened this week in film.
Yeah, let's do it.
Not a lot. I only have 2 things to talk about.
All right, let's dig in.
Elizabeth Banks has been tapped to direct The Invisible Woman, a film unrelated to the upcoming Invisible Man. And I don't like her anymore after what she said about like why Charlie's Angels didn't work.
What'd she say?
She said it didn't work because men don't go see action movies led by women. And personally, I think it didn't work because it sucked. Because Wonder Woman, Star Wars The Force Awakens, the Terminator franchise, all very successful, led by women.
Yeah, so you just made a shit film.
Yeah, exactly. The original Charlie's Angels?
I was just about to say, yeah. Well, yeah, it's just so tough, like, directed at you and I, because we're, like, huge Kill Bill fans, and Jackie Brown.
Captain Marvel. Yeah. Like, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know who she's talking to.
She just won't...
You're talking to people who don't even go to films, period.
And how come, like, women didn't step up and go see the movie because nobody wanted to see this.
It didn't look good. It was a bad really trailer. Bad. It's a weird cast. Yeah, no, it doesn't look good.
No.
It doesn't look good.
And I'm not going to see Invisible Woman because I don't like her anymore.
And are we supposed to yeah, exactly. Like, are we supposed to be like, oh, Elizabeth Banks directed it. We got to go see that. Like, it's not. Who do you think you are? You're not Greta Gerwig. Like, who do you think you are, dude? You know? I don't know. I think she's a very fun actress, but that's frustrating. Statements like that are frustrating, especially you and I are like, who are you talking to?
Yeah, exactly.
Because those people that you're aiming that towards don't even go to movies, period. Those fucking middle of America people who are like, oh, women shouldn't lead. They don't go to movies anyway. So I don't know who you're talking to, you know?
Yeah. And next up, you may remember a couple weeks ago we talked about the Star Wars script that ended up on eBay. Well, it's been revealed whose that was. John Boyega admitted he is the one who left his Star Wars script on the bed, and it ended up on eBay. So Finn fucked up.
The second main character, yeah.
Only time will tell if Disney will crush him out of spite. I don't know. We'll see.
Erase his career altogether?
Yeah.
His IMDb will never read the Star Wars anymore.
Nope.
No.
He might just disappear altogether. His IMDb page gets erased. We never hear from this guy again.
What was that one movie he was in? What are you talking about?
I just see them reissuing Star Wars The Force Awakens with him completely cut out of it.
Oh, man. See, I saw that movie Detroit. He was really good in that.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
That was an uncomfortable film to watch.
Very sad movie.
Very dark.
But it's one of those that's frustrating that people are not going to go see it because they're like, oh, it's unsettling. It's like, yeah, but that's how it's kind of been.
I didn't see it because it was very long.
You didn't go see it?
I watched it on
yeah, no, it's fine. No, I'm talking about people watching it in general. People are like, oh, it's too sad. I'm like,
you need some of that sometimes.
So is their lives. Yeah, so is that happening.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Well, that's all for this week. This was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed our dive into the Harry Potter franchise.
Oh, yeah, it had to happen at some point.
Feel free to subscribe to us on iTunes or YouTube. Leave some feedback or movie suggestions at filmgazm@gmail.com, or you can comment on our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And, we hope you keep enjoying this if you like it. Next week, we go back to horror with one of the freakiest monster movies ever made, the 1982 John Carpenter classic, The Thing.
Oh, yeah.
A group of Arctic researchers are attacked by a microscopic alien organism that can mimic any living thing it touches. One of our favorite horror movies, and sure to be a very fun episode. With that, I think there's only one thing left to say. Mischief managed.